2. Are we live? Yeah, we be live. We be live.
Hello.
Oh, did you see Harris Sultan and Secular Rarity doing the same thing? They all were
I
doing
know.
the
I'm like, oh my god, my legacy.
Wait, we can't be smiling because we're talking about. Okay, we're going to be talking about something absolutely depressing very soon. So, I mean, the first news is not that depressing.
We can be happy in the moment, okay?
Okay,
let's hang on to it while we can.
Okay. Hello, guys. See, I told you Susanna is going to be here. People were like panicking. People were like, "Where's Susie?" People thought maybe we replaced it completely. Yeah, like,
no, I just have a lot of responsibilities right now, so I have to scale back on what I can do so that I can still do the show.
Yes, but we're not losing Susie. Susie's going to be doing the news. Okay, sometimes she needs a break and she has other stuff to do. But Susie is here with us.
Curious is saying, "What happened to Secular Rarity? Why is he suddenly a girl?" It was funny because when I was watching the Ask Atheist Anything with Secular Rarity, someone was like, "Susanna looks different today."
Yeah. Oh, look at this. I like it when people say where they're saying hi from. Eric is saying hello from Hong Kong. Leon is saying hello from Holland. Aladdin is saying hello from Tunisia.
Amazing.
Somebody saying I like turtles, which
cool.
is important. Very cool. Hello from the Philippines. Wow. Amazing. It's a Facebook people announce their location. YouTube people don't do that. Hi, Dee. Look. New Mexico. George from New Mexico. Oh, what is Farah from Iraq? Wow, we should ask people every time where because like this shows how international Atheist Republic is. Oh, another one.
It's fun.
We should read their name as well. Sorry, I'm just reading that. George from New Mexico, Farah from Iraq, Lizer from the from the Philippines, Stephen from the UK, John from Tokyo. This is so cool. This is so international. Hello from Planet Earth. See, the YouTube people are not into mentioning their countries. From Canada. Oh wait, Hitesh from Canada. Wow. Oh here, one YouTube person saying Ray from Indonesia, Canada, Pat from Canada. Okay, we need to stop. But this is I don't know. This is so exciting. Gary from Scotland. Okay, I'm gonna read them. I'm just gonna highlight them. Okay.
Yeah, you can just highlight them in the background.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep
very quickly. We have some show notes announcements. This will be our new day and new time going forward. I know we've switched it a lot in the past few weeks, and that's because I've moved and I need to figure out how things work. Basically, I didn't realize that in Europe, everything gets shut down on Sunday. So I can't do the news show on Saturday because then I have 0 days to get anything done to take care of myself. I don't know how anyone gets things done here because I'm used to an American culture of everything being structured around everyone working all the time. So this has been a culture shock. And that is why things are on Sundays at this time now. And before we get into the news, we kind of wanted to acknowledge something very quickly. So there's this huge story that's happened in Iran. And basically, there was this girl who, according to all reports, was essentially beaten to death by morality police for quote unquote improper hijab. If you do not know, wearing the hijab is mandatory for all female citizens in Iran. And there are dire consequences if you do not follow these rules, especially under new. I don't like people calling it new policies because this isn't a new policy. There have just been new policies that have made these rules extra hard line. And now they have a body count. And unfortunately, like Iran has erupted in protest. There are already people being shot and killed while protesting. This just happened, so we're going to do a full deep dive into this next week, really give it the attention it deserves, but we kind of just wanted to acknowledge that this is happening. So I encourage people to use the hashtag Masa Amini to help raise awareness about this issue, because I know many people that I know in Iran feel like no one pays attention to them when these things happen. They're like, we all paid attention when George Floyd was killed. Everyone around the world like raised their voice, and we feel like people don't do the same for us when we need it. So this is a very important reason to tell people about what happened. But like I said, next week it's going to be our top story, and we're going to really dig into this in great detail. And there will be a lot more updates. Like apparently in Kurdistan, there's been internet shutdowns because of this, which is never a good sign. Usually means that people are getting shot and killed in the street. But more information will be out at a later date. And so please tune in next week so we can really give this the attention it deserves. And Mohammed is reminding everyone to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you, Mohammed, doing our job for us. I love it. All that being said, let's get into the first news story. And this one is, in comparison to the rest of the stories this week, quite nice.
Yes, actually, yeah, we're going on a roller coaster. Overall, today we have like mostly tragic news or happy news.
It's not great, I'm gonna be honest. Usually I do a better job of like balancing it out, and then when I was I was doing my research and picking the order yesterday, I was like, oh no.
See, like it's difficult for Susanna because we covering religion related news, most of it is like bad, but we don't want to do doom and gloom here and like make it seem like the whole world is like bad or anything. So we're trying, like Susanna is trying to like find good stories as well, right? So it's not always like tragic all the time here. But yeah, so and what countries are, but it's difficult though. So Susanna is doing a great job finding. So thank you, Susanna. But also, what countries are we covering today? Do you know, like, is there anything?
Serbia, Mozambique, the US, Germany, Iran, Turkey, Israel.
No.
Yeah, okay, a few stories from the US this week.
Okay, cool. All right, so this first story seems to be just good news. I don't know, depending on how important you think certain people are, we'll see. But overall, I think it's good news. Okay, so
it's more lighthearted.
It's lighthearted, but I generally think, well, I could argue about it when we discuss it. All right, so clappable. No, wait. First news. I'm an atheist, y'all. Britney Spears comes out as a non-believer. Britney Spears, the 90s princess of pop, stated that she no longer believes in God. In an audio recording uploaded on Instagram and then deleted, she stated, "I'm an atheist, y'all." Britney's comments came after the airing of a 60-minute Australia interview that featured in a 60-minute Australia broadcast that featured an interview with her ex-husband, Kevin Federline. In the audio, the singer-songwriter went on a tirade against her family and the trauma she received from how they treated her. Previously, in 2008, Britney's father, known as Jamie Spears, was granted control over her finances after a period of mental instability. The erratic behaviors followed the pop star's divorce from Kevin Federline in 2007. Last year, the court finally decided to end the conservatorship, which many believed was inherently illegal, corrupt, and the setting for an abusive, high-control environment of mental torment over the singer. Britney said, quote, "God would not allow that to happen to me if a God existed." She added, "I don't believe in God anymore because of the way my children and my family have treated me. There's nothing to believe in anymore." Yeah, before we discuss the significance of this, people are already asking about the significance of this already in live chat. You want to read this?
Yeah, so Shreyash Singh is saying, "How is this news? It's in the same league as conversion hoaxes." I think it's important to talk about, well, for a few reasons that I'm going to discuss in a second. But two, actually having someone come out and say that they don't believe in God, but actually use the word atheist itself is very significant. Because she had previously hinted in being non-believer, But many people, this word atheist is actually really, really stigmatized, which is why in the work that Atheist Republic does, we can specifically use the word atheist, atheist, atheist all the time because it is a stigmatized identity. So I think that's prominent. And also having someone that is basically an integral part of pop culture say this publicly will make it more relatable to millions and millions of people. To be like, oh, well, I know her. Yeah, Sriyash is saying basically normalization. Exactly. You got it.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. This is exactly what normalization. What happened with the normalization of LGBTs, right? So, I don't really follow celebrity news, but I don't really judge people who do because it's a type of entertainment, right? It might not be important, but if it entertains you, you get value from being entertained, right? So just because I choose different entertainment method, that doesn't mean that I have to look down upon other people's entertainment sources, right? But I think this is beyond. This is not just celebrity news that is entertainment. This is significant, right? She used the word atheist. She didn't say like I don't believe. Like Susanna said, she didn't just say I don't believe in God. This does wonders for us. Like celebrities now using the A word, the taboo word that people look down upon. Like we see how far we're getting with. Like let me tell you how bad this was. Even, I mean, one of the few things I disagreed with the Richard Dawkins Foundation was they constantly use the word secular, right? Because they wanted to stay away from the A word, like not Richard Dawkins himself, but foundation, right? Because they thought it might be not accepted by maybe a good way to spread secularism is just now they don't do that. Now I think like it's become so normalized. Like when we had atheist organizations like 10 years ago, we didn't call them atheist organizations. We called them, like when Atheist Republic first started, we were told by so many, don't call yourself Atheist Republic. Everybody else was calling themselves humanist something, skeptic something, free thinker something,
whatever,
secular something, free thinking something. Why? Because the word atheist was just so dirty. It was just so taboo. And we're like, well, that's why we should use it. That's why Atheist Republic, when it started like many years ago, we're like, well, we should use the word that is taboo because we want to normalize something that there's nothing wrong with being an atheist. So that's what we should be normalizing.
I was working with Canadian secular and humanist organizations last year. Within the past last year, they still don't want to come out and just say atheist.
Yeah, like it's still
this attitude is still very common.
Yeah, it's kind of like when LGBT was like becoming normalized. Some LGBT activists were like, maybe it's too soon. Maybe we shouldn't go out and be like, we're openly gay. The society is not ready yet. Like people are not ready for this. This is still too dirty, right? And some of them were more radical and good for them because they were like, no, we can't, like, people are like, a lot of gay people and a lot of like bi people are like, let's keep this underground. Let's just, like, if we come out too fast, the backlash might be so harsh that we have to take a step back and we might go backwards, right? But it didn't. That's not how it worked out. And every celebrity, not just normal people, because normal people coming out as gay, that really helps normalize LGBT, right? But when celebrities came out as gay openly, that was like so many extra miles than normal people to normalization of word of being of an identity. And the same thing with, so no matter what you think of celebrities, care about them, not care about them, think highly of them, not think badly on them. The fact is that they have a major reach, and when they use the word atheist in a non-negative way, that does a lot for atheists around the world, right? And you have to understand, Britney is like a top tier celebrity, so it's not about the U.S.
100%.
Like she's saying the word atheist, and it's not the United States that will notice; it's the world. Britney is a level of celebrity when that her words are listened to globally, not American. Okay, so if the word atheist is demonized in the U.S., imagine how demonized it is globally, and imagine a celebrity that globally is followed is now using it. and using it in such a casual, normal way. Like this blows people's minds. Like in certain places, like imagine somebody in Indonesia who follows Britney Spears all of a sudden being exposed to like, oh, Britney Spears just casually said I'm an atheist. Like, do you know how major of a shift it is in someone's worldview to just see that being used? Like, some of you are living in very progressive bubbles, and you don't understand how earth-shattering that is for some people, right?
Yeah,
So anyways,
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Any comments? So I have some comments highlighted. When I speak, I miss a whole bunch of good comments. So D is saying, I don't believe her. This is just emotional response. I mean, I don't want to read. I don't know what goes on. I'll take people's
So
word.
can I give some background to like respond to D? Because I know like D is our editor, so she reads these things and she knows the background. So in this video or this audio that Britney put out, she's railing against her family members for basically sympathizing with her father, Jamie Spears, who put her through hell. I cannot give the full explanation of what happened to her during her conservatorship, but it's horrific. I would describe it as the makings of a severely high control environment, like where she was forcibly medicated against her will. She had basically no autonomy, no control over her own life. Her locus of control was completely stripped away from her. Like, you can go watch the documentary if you want to learn more about it. And her father continues to this day to use the judicial system to harass her and terrorize her, trying to get her home address, trying to figure out where she lives, trying to force her to sit her for depositions in exchange for them merely fulfilling their obligations under the law of responding to Britney's lawyer's requests. She has been like mic'd, like her rooms have been bugged by her family. Like there's so much super messed up stuff that happened to her over the 13 years of her conservatorship. It's actually insane. I would be mentally terrorized if I went through what she went through. And so I guess there was some sort of interview where one of her sons was sympathizing with his grandfather, aka her father, and saying, oh, you know, he just wanted what was best for her, blah, blah, blah. Her money, Britney's money from her own conservatorship of her own earnings is being used to terrorize her life to this day. She has to pay for the money that is being used against her for both of her parents. There's so much about the situation that is perverse, absolutely perverse. Anyways, so in this audio, she's railing against them and talking about how she knows that they like looking at her as sick. She knows that they like looking at her as unstable, as something there's something wrong with her, and that they only sympathize with like the grandpa because they know that they won't be getting her money soon. She has to pay $40,000 a month in alimony to her former husband. They weren't even married that long. And so she was basically just ranting and airing out like their motives in her eyes, right? And then she ends with basically saying like, this, I can't believe people would treat me like this. I cannot believe my own family would treat me like this. Like, what kind of God would allow this to happen? And like I said, if you don't have the full understanding of what happened to her in her conservatorship, like it would break a person. It's crazy. So I think her reaction is quite like normal and healthy. And so basically at the end of this, she says, you know, like, because of how my family's treated me, I'm an atheist, y'all. And so a lot of atheists in atheist media are saying basically that this answer isn't good enough. They're saying that this reaction is just going to be cannon fodder for Christian apologists, for example, that say, she didn't reject God because of a personal, well thought through look at the evidence. It was because of this personal trauma she went to, and God is willing and ready to invite her back, this kind of thing. But I don't think that's entirely fair. I actually think it's extremely unfair. Like, most people, I don't think actually leave religion for a well thought through argument. We like to think that, but the studies on atheists and why they leave religion that is not what the evidence shows. So for people to put forward like they're like superior kind of atheists because of how the way that they arrived at their non-belief, I think is really unfair. And I don't like that attitude.
Well, I mean, I agree with those Christians a little bit. First of all, I'm going to explain. But Silva just gifted 5 Atheist Republic memberships. Thank you so much, Silva. So,
thank you. Wow.
Shreyash, Johar, a secular Damon, Higgs boson, and Emron are now members. Thank you so much, Silva, for buying people membership. That's amazing. And okay, so I must say, yeah, I do agree with this. By the way, you're very right. Christians are. I've already seen, because I follow Christian channels, and they're already jumping on this. I'm like, look at this. This is ridiculous. This is not a good reason to be an atheist, right? And to be fair, and also you're right. Most atheists are not atheists for good reasons, right? But it's fine. Like people, like we could work on that. Most people are not involved in like intellectual discussions, and you have to reduce your expectations a little bit, right? When we want to normalize atheism, we don't want to just normalize atheism that has for good reasons, okay? Atheists that have become atheists for good reasons and for bad reasons should not be mistreated and looked down upon for their atheism, even the ones that are atheists for not very good reasons. Okay, our issue is that the world looks down upon atheists. Okay, and that's not okay. So even the atheists that are atheists for not very good reasons, they are not worse people, right? I mean, religious people are all religious for bad reasons. Okay, and we we defend their rights, and we are against their oppression against them, or ostracization or demonization of religious people, even though every single one of them is religious for a bad reason. Okay, many atheists are atheists for bad reasons, and we should be defending them as well, and we should be against the world being against them, right? And so D is like pointing out in the live chat that I think more people will think it's just a fad now. She's always spoken about God, so this seems out of left field. I mean, the point is that whatever happens with this, the word atheist is being used and normalized. And I think that's huge. That's a good thing. That's our point. Whatever people will think badly of atheists because of what atheists do, and think well of atheists because of some other atheists do. We're not going to be able to control that. At the end of the day, the more the word atheist is part of the conversation, the more people are going to notice that it's an okay word to use. The more people are going to have, the less people are going to have an allergic reaction to anybody that is an atheist, because it's just normal, even if they don't like some of the atheists that they meet.
I agree with AGA though. By the way, happy birthday, our lovely AGA. Mwah, 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 mwah. Kisses to the birthday girl. AGA is saying, I mean, you don't need a reason to be an atheist. Like, why do we have a spectrum of judgment?
I mean, you don't need a reason. Technically, you don't need a reason, but that's why people who have a reason, it's better. Okay, the best reason for being an atheist is that there's no reason to be a god. You don't need a reason, but there are better. So need is not the right word. Okay, you don't need to be right, technically. You don't even need to be an atheist. You could be religious, right? But it's better if you're not. So you don't need to have correct values, but it's better if you do. You don't need to have correct beliefs. So I don't know why we're shoving the word need here. I mean, I didn't say you need it. I would just say it would be better. Like, for example, if I come to a conclusion that happens to be correct, if I came to that conclusion using a proper methodology, that is better than coming to the right conclusion using a bad methodology. Okay? Do I need a proper methodology? No. Would it be better if I use a proper methodology? Yes. I mean, what is this? Like, why are we judging people? We judge everything. How could we not judge? Like, there are like people are like, why are we judging? Like, because some things are better. Like, what am I
No,
supposed to do? Something, some
no,
things are just better.
it's like a personal thing that I don't like about a lot of the atheist community is like this varying levels of superiority complex based on how someone reached the point of being a non-believer.
Okay,
Come on,
so
you know what
here's
I'm
the thing.
talking about.
Yes. I think it's okay to judge values and methodology, but the people, I don't want to put the people on a spectrum of hierarchy, right?
Okay.
So I think like we could judge each other's views and beliefs, but treat all of us the same, regardless of how wrong. For example, I think Muslims' views, especially about religion and God, is inferior to our views. I think that. Okay, sorry, like when I do, right? I think Christians' views about God is inferior to our views, right? It is inferior, but I don't want to treat the people themselves should be treated the same, because being wrong is not a crime. Being wrong, we're all wrong about something. Religious people happen to be wrong about God and religion, right? I'm sure I'm wrong about many other things, not about God and religion, but about other things. Okay, so I mean, I don't know what I'm wrong about. If I knew, I would stop being wrong about it. But I'm sure I'm wrong about something. So I don't look at religious people or atheists with bad reasons for being an atheist. I don't look at them as inferior, because I would have to look at myself as inferior because of my bad views as well. I just judge their views as inferior. So we just have to be able to separate the judgment on the beliefs, separate that from the judgment on the individuals. I think we can separate that. Yeah.
AGA is saying, "Aw, thank you for the birthday wishes. I would like to see everyone give birthday wishes to AGA in the live chat. She is such a valuable member of our community, and she does so much for Atheist Republic. So let's give her some recognition and love."
Thank you,
and
AGA.
also, Selva Kumar is saying that he gifted these memberships to celebrate his divorce from an abusive marriage. Congratulations, my friend. I'm proud of you for fighting for yourself.
Okay, but we don't know. We're trusting you. Maybe that this is an accurate description of what happened. Okay, but I don't know. Wait, I should stop talking. I'm gonna stop talking. I can't I try to always be honest, and I get in trouble. Okay.
Yeah, never let Armin open his mouth. Honestly.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was abusive from the other way, or like, how could we just know over the chat? Okay. No, seriously. Okay.
Oh my gosh, we have giant happy birthday postings in the live chat. I love this.
Oh, look, actually, see, I can be skeptical. Selma is like, see, because Susanna is sometimes give me a hard time for my opening my mouth too much. But Selma is saying,
I'm just saying that right after someone describes their relationship as abusive may not be the most sensitive time to immediately become skeptical. Okay. I'm just saying. Immediately afterwards, it's a little rude and maybe triggering. Legitimate.
Okay, I just feel weird that I'm clapping for something that I don't know what happened. I don't know the details. I'm like, yay! I'm like, okay. Okay.
Oh
all right.
Gosh.
All right.
Anyways, thank you, Selva. I'm sorry for him. What can you do?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
We could go to the next news. Oh, you have an Instagram post that we could share. Okay.
Yes.
Can we clap for this one? Wait.
Yes, this is some juicy drama that no one else is reporting on except us. This is an Atheist Republic exclusive.
Okay. Well, next news.
Next news. Muslims harass protest against death penalty for Iranian lesbians. Recently, a group of young Muslims aggressively heckled a group protesting the death sentence of Iranian LGBTQ activists Zara Sadeghi Hamadani and Elhan Chobdar in Cologne, Germany. An Instagram video posted by veteran activist Mariam Namazi showed the angry youth shouting Allahu Akbar as the group tried to explain their intentions. In an interview with the Atheist Republic news team, Namazi said she was about to give a speech when the incident happened. Quote, I was holding an Allah is a woman sign, she said. It was just one of the signs the protesters were holding, while most of the signs in the protests supported Zara and Ilham. Quote, they saw the sign and that's when they started shouting Allahu Akbar, Namazi explained. The caption of her video reads, let me repeat, they were not offended by two women being executed in Iran by an Islamic regime, but by a sign. Namazi saw beyond the hateful speech by the hecklers. They were mixing sexes. They were dressed in the Western style. They were in the public space, and one was not wearing a hijab. She described the group of the young Muslims who heckled their protest. For me, these are young people who are stuck in these positions, who obviously want to live the life they want, but are held by identity politics and culturalism, she said. She compared the reality of the two activists they are fighting for, Zahra and Ilham, to that of the hecklers. Dogma and hate were so strong it could have warped their minds, she said. She said there are times that she gets mad with people that are unwilling to listen to opposing opinions. But this time, she did not feel anger towards them. Quote, I find their reaction heartbreaking. It did not anger me. I felt heartbroken, she said.
Yeah, I saw that video. Should we show the video?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Hold on. Give me a second. Should I just show it here? This one?
Yeah, I think that might be easier.
Yeah, okay. Look at this. This is what Allahu Akbar really means to us. Okay? He's shouting Allahu Akbar. Okay? You know what Allahu Akbar means here? Because Allahu Akbar means many things. But here, it means like, I'm intimidating you. Right? And I don't know if people understand, like a lot of us have PTSD over this. Like sometimes we seem like we're being bigoted because we hear Allahu Akbar and we're like, ugh. And people are like, wow, they're just saying God is great. What's your problem with it? Like, this is how sensitive you are. This is like, you are so like bigoted that you can't just let Muslims, like, well, I mean, first of all, we're letting them, right, say Allahu Akbar, but they don't know, like, sometimes when we hear Allahu Akbar, we hear something other than Allah is great, right? And this guy using Allahu Akbar, it just brings that kind of memory back to me. Like this is this is what he. It's hard to explain. Based on the way he's saying Allahu Akbar, I can tell what he means by Allahu Akbar here. Okay, so this is a guy is a Muslim. Where? What city is this? By the way, this is
Cologne. This is right in
Cologne.
front of the what's it called? The dome, the giant cathedral in Cologne.
Okay. So this is in Germany. Okay, so their Mariam Namazi is holding a sign saying Allah is a woman, and this guy is not having it. Okay, and again, this guy is with a girl that is wearing like no hijab, and they're like completely. It shows how fundamental some of these beliefs are, and some of these trigger points are, even among the many Muslims who are not living an Islamic lifestyle. Let's just put it like that. But look, this guy is just like remembered. The way I imagine this is that this guy has forgotten that he was a Muslim until just now. You know what I mean? I think like this guy had like forgotten that he, like, based on, I'm just guessing here, this is just my guess, forgotten that he's a Muslim for the past 5 years or so, and all of a sudden he saw a sign that says Allah is a woman, and it just brought it back all to him. Like, oh my God, I have to be a Muslim again. But look at this guy. Look, this is the girl he's with, and this is what she's wearing. No hijab, nothing, and she's like.
And Babak pointed out to me that she's Afghan, because in the video he can tell that she's speaking Dari.
Oh really? Oh my God. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! This is like so. I don't know how to explain this, but a woman wearing that with no hijab, shouting Allahu Akbar, it's just, I don't know how to explain these things for people who are not born in that environment, but this is like peak irony, okay? Oh, we got the Oxymoron just gave us a unicorn with 29 rupees. Thank you, Oxymoron.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's cute. but I can't show the unicorn here. Anyway, let's continue. Look at this outfit. You're shouting Allahu Akbar with this outfit. Again, don't come at me like she's allowed to. I know. It's just like triggering something in me that I don't know how to explain. Okay, so now he's shouting La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah in a very aggressive, I am butthurt, I am triggered attitude. Okay, this is like, you know what he's okay. So he's saying La ilaha illallah, meaning there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad Rasulullah, meaning that Muhammad is the prophet of God. However, what he's saying is that you will not defeat Islam. Islam is dominant. Okay, so he's looking at the sign and he's looking at it and shouting. This is the translation of what he's saying, that Islam is dominant and your sign is not going to defeat Islam. That's what he means. Do you like how I'm translating the what he's saying? Is this girl with them as well?
I can't tell. It kind of seems like it because she's in close proximity to them.
Okay, I don't know what the other people are. Is that German? What is that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna not. Should I keep playing until we see the sign my Mariam is holding, or no? Or should
yeah, but no. You can keep going because there's something else I wanted to see.
Okay. Did you see that she was pointing at her like that?
Yeah.
I think if I had to guess, she was pointing at like, look at your outfit. Who are you to shout Allah Akbar at us, right? So I think if I had to guess, that's what she was shouting. So I saw the poster of one of the two lesbians that were. Okay, so that move, aggressively trying to move as if he wants to attack or something, that in Germany you don't do that. Okay, this is how you get the police.
No, they had to call the police after one of these people hit one of the protesters.
Oh wow, okay. That's Mariam right there. That's Mariam. Say, it's holding the sign saying Allah is a woman. Okay, we have Afghans on our side as well. I don't know. I think we have Afghans on both sides, on the Islam side and the anti-Islam side. Okay, I don't like this. Don't point. Don't wave an umbrella at her. Okay, I'm gonna criticize the our side people. Okay, when a girl is like coming in, like, you know, don't wave an umbrella. Like, it could be intimidating. Like, don't intimidate them with that. Especially if it could hit her by accident. Like, that umbrella was getting close to her. Imagine if it got.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You're waiting.
Imagine if you by accident hit her just a little bit, that would be the end. Like, oh my God, Muslim woman attacked with an umbrella by anti-Islamic protesters. Like, that would be so bad. So don't do that. So this is the anti-Islam side with the Islam side. By the way, guys, like, whoever thinks that the anti-Islam people are bigoted, just note that the anti-Islam side is mostly Middle Eastern people, okay? It's mostly Afghani, Pakistani, Middle Eastern people. Okay?
Iranian.
So, Iranian, well, yeah, so. Look at all this. don't know what they're saying in German, but there's something about Islam. You want to keep going?
No, I think that's good enough. I think really, I mean, if you ever know how to eloquently put something, I always defer to Maryam Namazi. And so I just want to repeat what she said in the caption of this video, which is, let me repeat, they were not offended by 2 women being executed in Iran by an Islamic regime, but by the sign. And I just think it really speaks to priorities, right?
Yeah.
Like, the priorities of the people who are holding this protest are to save the lives of people who are being persecuted for their sexual identity, right? Who they love, who they're attracted to. Meanwhile, the people who are engaging in intimidation, it's for the defense of the being whose sake these women are being executed, right? Under whose laws these women are being faced with death. Painful, horrific, suffocating death. I mean, really, what more needs to be said? Where are the priorities here? One group is focused on human life. The others is focused on death.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I just wanted to keep playing it until the police shows up. I don't know if we're going to have the time. Anything?
No, I don't think the police showed up in this video.
It did. I think it did. It comes here at some point.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
This is a little bit off topic. Actually, I don't know if we should get into it, but what do you think about like the communists who are going there who display their flags really, really prominently?
Their commie flags? Like, do they have their commie flags?
Yeah, did you not see it?
I don't
that
like
big
it.
white flag. That big white flag is like the Workers' Party of Iran.
Does it have like the sickle and hammer?
No, but that's a communist party.
Does Iranian. It say communist anywhere on the sign?
Not to my knowledge.
I think if it doesn't, they can be there. But I just hope that they don't, because they have to know they're hurting the movement. Like they are. Like, what do you care about? Do you care about the human rights, or are you caring about promoting communism? Okay, because if you use these events like this to promote your communism, you're hurting the cause. I think.
Because I know a lot of ex-Muslims, particularly Iranians, who don't like when they come and start to show their signage as a communist thing. They're like, you're totally welcome to come join and support our protest, but please don't come and display signs from your own Workers' Party, basically as a form of advertising or recruitment. Because then you're making this seem like this is all about communism, when really it's just like a few of you here. Like a lot of people I'm close to, like they actually get quite offended that they feel like the cause of like maybe these 2 women is being co-opted and taken. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, even if you're a communist and you think communism is the best thing ever, you have to understand that communism, this is not about communism. And given how bad the reputation of communism is, you're going to make it so that this cause doesn't get the attention that it deserves. Like, so for example, we have, like, for example, like
alienate other people.
Like, for example, sometimes we know how dirty the word atheist is, right? So we're not hypocrites, right? So we want to defend some humanists or skeptics somewhere in Africa or like somewhere in Iran, and we have to be careful. Like, we ask experts that are involved in the cases of these people, like, we're Atheist Republic. Like, should we get involved in this, or would that be bad for this person's case because of the word atheist there? And we try to like see if we could get a green light before, like, not. I mean, when it comes to reporting the news, we don't need a green light because we're literally just reporting news, right? But when it comes to actually getting involved in the campaign, we try to see. Like, we ask the mother or the people, other activists that are experts, like, just help or hurt the cause. And then we will only get involved if we get the green light, right? So if you're a communist, you have to be aware of that. Like, are you hurting the cause by your, like, you could be a communist and be involved in these activities, but is this a place to be advocating, like, marketing communism? Like, you're waving a flag with hammer and sickle. But I think it's okay if they didn't. Like, if their logo and sign doesn't have the hammer and sickle and it doesn't say communist anywhere on it, I think that's fine. Like, I don't think it's going to alienate. I don't think it's going to alienate anybody. Like, nobody's going to come and
even
see,
if they're
God,
showing the signage of a specific political party that is explicitly communist.
Yeah, it's fine in my opinion, because the worry is, are we alienating people that might think like, oh my God, these are just a bunch of communists, right? And I think, like, if you're a party and you want to be involved in this, be involved in this, but this is not a place to promote communism, right? I think, like, Mariam has been very good with that, right? So, like, Mariam,
she's the best. Oh my God.
Yeah, so Mariam is a communist, right?
And she's like, you would never know. It doesn't.
Yeah, no, you would know, but if you ask her, right? But
exactly.
but when she's doing her anti-religion activism, she's not also, like, mixing it with communism, right? She's not coming at them like, by the way, So I don't know. So I think she does it very well. She does her. I don't know. She's pro-communist when she somewhere else, right? Like when she. But here, look at this. Abhinandan is saying communists are essential to the fight for atheism. You guys have to be writ. Can I say that on YouTube?
No,
you guys have to be
slow.
You guys are not very
mentally
smart.
Deficient.
Mental deficient, yeah. To not see them as allies. First of all, we do see them as allies, even though we disagree with communism. So actually, you are an idiot for thinking that just because we're literally talking about Mariam Namazi and we love her and she's a communist. So this is very embarrassing for you right now because you actually,
she's my queen.
Like how stupid you are, especially when you're calling other people stupid. Oh, I would be embarrassed if you were. I hope this is not your real name because now this is here forever. And you acted like you were calling out our stupidity, but you look like a fool right now, okay? Because this entire show is our support for Mariam Namazi, who is a communist. So look how stupid you are. God damn it. We're talking about strategy and whether or not it's okay for advocating for communism while you're doing human rights activism, okay? I'm a capitalist. I ally with communists all the time, okay?
One of my heroes.
Yeah. Okay. Like, wait. Actually, just show them a picture of me kissing a commie. Should we bring the Milad?
Oh wait, yes. This is a picture I took at Celebrating Dissent.
Do you have it? Bring it. Oh my God.
I don't have it ready.
Still here? I want to see his defense because he's such a stupid idiot and he's calling us idiots. But yeah, but no.
Do you think you can find it?
Okay, fine. I'll bring it.
In the meantime, Jed is asking for a shout out from the Philippines. Hi, Jed from the Philippines. This is a funny comment from Shriyash saying, I became a commie, then became an atheist, and then jump shipped. Lamau. Yeah, I like that progression. You're like, I will keep the atheism and reject the rest. Thank you very much.
Wait, I don't know where to find that picture. Where did we post it? Did Babak post it? I think Babak posted it on his.
Well, I have that photo among a collection of other photos on my cover photo on Facebook. If that makes it easier to find, you can just zoom in on the right one.
Why have I never uploaded this? I'm so surprised at myself. Hold on, maybe it's on my Instagram. Hold on, profile.
No, I don't think so. Wait, let me check. Someone definitely uploaded this. Just a second.
Yeah, I don't know where it was, but let me actually see. People are saying show it. That guy that was called us idiots. He's the R word. He's not there to defend himself. I wanted to see what his defense
was. It Babak that posted it? Let me check.
No, Babak didn't post it. Let's see it.
Damn it!
Oh wait, maybe Milad posted it.
This was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it was a little bit of a diversion, but I wanted to talk about the whole communism angle just because I know particularly within Iranian atheist circles, this is a big contention that people have amongst each other. And so I don't know, I thought it was worthwhile to just think about that. And I was curious about your opinion.
Okay. No, I think
I can't find it.
Yeah, I can't find it either. Well, we have to have this ready every time somebody accuses us of not supporting. Our token communist. Our token commie. Our token commie.
Wait.
Anyways,
Okay, wait.
I'm going to show something else in the meantime, because this is what happened in Cologne, by the way, guys. I met Richard. This is exactly, this was like, I think around the same area. So guys, I met, like, when I recently went to Germany, and I met Dawkins. This is us holding Salman Rushdie. I thought I posted it on Facebook. Yeah. Oh, you found it.
I definitely thought it was posted on Facebook. Okay, here we go.
Oh yeah, that's kissing the. Oh, this is actually better because you actually have the subtitle here.
Yeah,
he's look like he's jizzing, like orgasm.
So wait, can you tell people who this is for those who don't know?
This is Milad. This is our favorite. After Mariam Namazi, this is our favorite commie. Also, we like to mess with him by always like crapping on communism every time we speak, because he always brings it up.
Anytime Milad comes anywhere, you're like, don't make it about communism.
Like, so no, he always he doesn't anymore. Like, but whatever he uses. It was like, and he's clever, right? He knows not to say communism because people are allergic to that, right? He always like, you're talking about something completely different about religion, about Islam, about the Quran, but he all of a sudden talks about workers. I'm like, Milad, what are you doing? What is this? Are you making this about communism again? And then we're talking about feminism. He has to make it about communism. Anyways, like we also love it because he's also very tolerant, right? Like every time he shows up, like even though he's our friend, we don't go easy on him. Like we like destroy communism every time. Like we like swear at communism. We're like very insulting about communism, right? And he always comes back. He doesn't.
Yeah. So this is Babak and Armin giving Milad kisses for all the abuse he takes.
Yes.
I thought that was sweet. Yeah. Shriyash is like, aw, that's actually cute.
Yeah, Misha is adorable.
Yeah,
okay.
That's fun. Okay, anyways, let's get back to the news after that diversion.
Okay. See, this is, by the way, the same way that I think about, like, I don't understand. Like, I hate communism. Like, I hate communism with such a passion, okay? And then I get along with commies a lot, okay? And I feel like this is how it should be. Like, I don't understand why we hate people who we disagree with, right? Like, I feel like we could do that with Muslims and Christians, and they should do that with us as well. Like, I hate Islam with a passion, okay? But, like, I could get along with Muslims. I think I get along with Muslims more than most atheists, right? I think I get along with Muslims more than many Muslims, right? So, yeah, and I feel like we can do that. Like, they could do that too. Like, and I also welcome people hating atheism, right? And like, you don't have to love atheism to befriend me. You could continue hating atheism, and you could be my friend. It's fine. Don't take it seriously. Just chill. It's all good. We can hate each other's ideas as long as we don't hate each other.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. Yeah.
It could all be that simple. I was gonna say, I also think you get along with some Muslims better than other atheists.
True. Sometimes too. Well, sometimes people on the Persian channel, they're like, every time an atheist, like I'm talking to an atheist, I'm very aggressive, and as soon as a Muslim comes, I'm like very nice. I change my tone. I like very nice, and people are like, why are you like treating them better than us? I'm like, listen, this is like maybe an insult because I just think they can't. I just think like there's 2 cents of them. Like they're babies, little babies. You have to be nice to them, or else they will run away. They're just,
to be fair, you're like that with most believers you talk to. Like the way you talk to believers is completely different than what people would expect. You're like talking to like your little kitten. You're like so nice.
Yeah. When they're not in front of me and I'm talking about Yeah, when they're not in front of me and I'm talking about the religion, I'm like really aggressive. But then as soon as they come in front of me, I'm like put the
And then people think
toes.
you're a hypocrite for some reason, which doesn't make sense. You're like, no, I'm just a nice person.
Yeah. Also because they're in front of me and I don't want to expose them to something that they don't want to hear unless they give me the green light, right? When they're not in front of me, right, they could just, when I'm very aggressive about religion, they could just as easily just stop the video if they don't like listening to what I'm saying, right? But when I'm with them, then I feel like I am forcing my, like they're being exposed to what I'm hearing, but that them being able to leave, or if they want to leave, it's going to look ridiculous. They're going to so they're kind of stuck. So I have them, and I want to be like mindful of that. But I don't need to be mindful when I don't have them as an audience, like in front of me, right? Because if they're watching my video, like it's their responsibility to stop watching something that is making them upset, right? But if I'm in front of them, it becomes somewhat my responsibility as well. That's why I changed the tactics. Yeah. Anyways, can we? We can't. I mean, he can't.
Yeah, this next news is really bad. Oh, Armin, don't make that joke right now. Fuck.
Okay. All right, never mind. I don't think most people get it. I don't think anybody gets what I just said. I think you're the only one.
You're such a horrible person.
Okay,
And I need to collect myself.
Okay. Sorry.
This is the man I work with. God damn it. Okay.
Okay. Next news.
Thief's fingers chopped off in Islamic punishment in Iran. In Iran, convicted robber 28-year-old Morteza Jalali had 4 fingers amputated by a guillotine-type device installed in Tehran's Evin prison, despite calls for leniency from surgeons and human rights groups. Mohammad Hussein Durudi, the chief prosecutor of Iran's Khorasan Razavi province, stated, quote, "The judiciary does not show any mercy to those who break the norms of society and disrupt the public order." The Quran justifies this ruling as it states in Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 38. Quote, "As for the thief, the male and the female amputate their hands in recompense for what they committed as deterrent or punishment from Allah." The head of the Iranian Association of Surgeons, Iraj Fazal, called on the judiciary to not amputate, calling it worrying and horrifying. Morteza is the most recent victim after reports from Amnesty International confirmed the amputation of the fingers of prisoners Puya Torabi on July 27th and Sayyad Barat Husseini on May 31st. Amnesty said that Sayyad Barat lost consciousness due to pain and blood loss and suffered an infection. He has been held in isolation since. So, go ahead.
Just to be clear, this is not the picture of the person. This is the only picture we have of Iranians carrying out finger cutting. So it's been used every time. Every time we have another person's fingers cut to demonstrate what the process looks like, they go back to this picture because this is apparently the only time somebody took a picture. This is the device that they use, and they put their hand here and they cut your hand, right? And these are the people. So just to see what the process looks like, we use the people use this old picture that the only picture they have. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to cover this news so that people understand that this is something that still happens, that amputation for criminal punishment is something that still happens and is sanctioned on the state level. This isn't just something that Islamist groups go do in acts of radical vigilantism against other innocent civilians, right? In some sort of terroristic community policing. Like, this is the official state processes for these kinds of crimes. And what's extremely concerning is under Iran's new president, President Raisi, not only have we seen a huge uptick in executions, but we have seen a huge uptick in amputations. And there's been documents that have been leaked within the past few months that show that internal government agencies are asking the judiciary or the penal system to go through and stop delaying executions and amputations. They're like, we need to follow through on these faster.
I don't understand. I mean, I get the executions. The prison population is like too high, and they don't have the capacity. So that made sense in their like from their point of perspective. I mean, I kind of get why they were doing that, right? Like the executions going up, but what is like because guys, I never think that, I usually don't think that this is ideology alone, right? People who the atheist activists that think like religion is alone explains these things, a lot of times it doesn't. A lot of times it's religion plus something politically convenient. Okay, so that's why the executions kind of make sense to me, because why there was an uptick there. I think they were trying to save money and make room, but I don't get this. Why would they? Why is there an uptick in the amputation? Like this is like an. You would think that right now Iran, with the people being so anti-Islamic, many people Iranians being so anti-Islamic and being so anti the regime, saying that this is barbaric, saying this is worse than the Dark Ages. They say that the Iranian people, right? And there being so much tension between the people and the government, you would think that this is not a time to do this. So I don't understand why would they pick up the amputations. What do you think?
I think to impose a heightened state of terror over the populace.
You're so yes. You. Oh my God, Susie, why are you so smart?
Oh, thank you.
No, like I was like, you got it. You're right. Like because it's actually the other. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's because of that. Because they're scared of the people. Because there's more protests. They're like trying to show the people that their teeth are sharp. Like don't forget. This is why Khamenei said that we're gonna bring back the God of the '80s, right? Because people like know your place. Like we will.
For those who
like,
don't know, that references mass executions. Tens
Yes.
of thousands of people executed, being brought in and killed without trial by the truckload. Not an exaggeration.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, but that's the kind of suggestion that people think that he was saying when he said Khamenei said, because Iran went through a period of time in the 80s that it was brutal, like it was genocide level brutal, right? And those are the 80s. And Khamenei just recently, given that people are complaining more about the government and there's more opposition and stuff like that, that's picking up. Khamenei came and he said, the God that we have today is the same God that we had during the 80s, right? So people have been trying to interpret what that means, because what he means is that we are the same people with the same values. Like when he says our God is the same, that means that our religion is the same. That means our values, like we didn't do anything wrong back then. So he basically was saying indirectly
Barbaric.
that if we have to go back there, we will go back there. So it was a warning to the people. And I think like you're right. This uppick is kind of like a warning to the people that know your place. Like we will get brutal if we have to.
It's so bad.
That's very good.
One point that Dee brings up that is extremely important is that Dee is saying this was done in the prison's health clinic. So this is done supposedly in the medical setting. This is done in Evin Prison's infirmary, in the presence of doctors.
How did he get infected then?
Exactly. Okay, so what I'm about to read is about one of the guys who recently had his fingers amputated, not the guy that had this most recent amputation that the main story is about, but this is about a similar one that happened fairly recently. So, an incident in Evin prison in late spring of 2022 gave a clear picture into the mindset of Iran's judicial officials on corporal punishment. On May 31st, as reported by Amnesty, a prisoner named Syed Barat Husseini had 4 fingers cut off in Evin prison. There were multiple officers present. They included the Tehran prosecutor, the head of Evin prison, the prison's assistant prosecutor, the judge in charge of the sentence implementation there, and the chief doctor at the prison clinic. Despite the latter standing by, Barat Husseini was given no anesthetic. However, beforehand, the officers approached Barat Hosseini to let him know that as an option, he could pay to get the fingers frozen and then have them physically reattached on the completion of his sentence. Unsurprisingly, Barat Hosseini did not have the money for this. So this is an impoverished man who resorted to theft as a means of subsistence. He got caught, was given this sentence. They said, if you pay us, we will freeze your fingers, chop them off, and then surgically reattach them. This man could not afford to do that, obviously.
What?
And so they chopped off his fingers without anesthetic, and he fainted, lost consciousness because of blood loss, and then was transferred to a hospital. Then he got a severe infection, and then he's been brought back to the prison where he's been held in isolation, solitary confinement, so that people don't know what his condition is.
This is too much. This is beyond evil. Are these people
so crazy? And a lot of what people talk about is how a disproportionate amount of people who are faced with executions, but particularly faced with amputations, are people from economically disadvantaged ethnic minorities. So there's a racial component of this as well, essentially.
Well, there would be a racial component even if they weren't trying, because the racial, like different ethnicities in Iran have different economic statuses on average.
Exactly.
And people who can pay for good lawyers are not going to, like, no rich person is ever going to go through. Oh, actually, the biggest thieves in Iran are extremely rich, right? So, like, you have CEOs of companies, political, very highly influential people getting caught for stealing big sums of money, big sums of money. Okay, they never lose their fingers. Okay, you have to like steal, I don't know, like a sheep or like a car or something like small. Then you lose your finger. Okay, but if you're one of this big guy and you're stealing like millions of dollars worth of money, then you might go to jail, but your fingers don't get cut. I don't know how that works. Like, wouldn't the punishment for people who steal more, wouldn't that be more? But like a lot of people are rich enough for them not to even see the inside of a court or jail. But again, like ethnicity plays a role in here because, you know, if you're a Baluchi, you're probably a lot less, on average, you're like have less income than somebody like that is a Fars or something, right? Mm-hmm. Or a Turk or a Kurd or lower income. But another thing I want to mention that how barbaric this whole Islamic, the logic behind the Islamic ruling is to cut someone's hand because they're stealing. Because think about the modern world. When somebody steals, it's probably most likely because the system has failed them.
It depends.
Most likely, like people, like countries where people are taken care of, theft is not that common, right?
Sorry, I lived in San Francisco for the past 9 years. I beg to differ, but I have my own bitterness about that. I will let you continue. Wait,
that doesn't disprove my point. You're talking about United States. So we are talking about a place where people are not taken care of. Okay, I'm talking about relatively to, I don't know, Scandinavian countries, where, you know, like you're acting like United States is like somebody that people are not less. Yeah.
I mean, I would sidetrack everything with this conversation, but San Francisco has an extreme amount of resources available to its citizens and has actively taken away any methods for the state to penalize these kinds of actions.
Yeah, but that's like
we've taken away all the sticks. We only have carrots, and so we have a huge problem of no rule of law now.
Yeah, San Francisco is different when you take away the sticks. That's like an outlier. Yeah. Okay, usually, okay. Taking away San Francisco's weird example of not actually enforcing the law, okay? Most places, at least in Iran, how about that? In Iran, people see the theft as a failure of the system. These are people who would not have been stealing if the government was this, bad at management or like letting people down, right? So all the economic failures. So, and the way that the modern world, okay, tries to, not including the US, okay, tries to, when somebody steals, they go through a system that tries to put them into a workforce, like try to give them the skills and the know-how. Like they don't just put them in prison just to punish them. They also want to figure out how this man could go back to the society, contribute to the society, benefit from the society, have a proper job, right? Because they see like, okay, if this man steal, we failed him. Okay, we failed him. Now let's see what we could do so that he could go back and make money in the proper way, right? But imagine another system that not only doesn't try to fix the situation with this man, you take the means of production from his body. You know what I mean? You take the only ability that he had to not steal. I mean, Islam's like, oh, I cut his hand, he can't steal anymore. Okay, but he can't work anymore either. You didn't fix any. Like you got him. You had an opportunity to find a way for him to now go work. Not only you didn't help him with that, you made sure that he can't. What is he gonna do without fingers? Like he can't enter. Like he was out of the system. He was out of society. He was an outcast, and now you guaranteed that he's gonna remain an outcast. It's insane. I do want to highlight some other comments here. No, you already highlighted that one. So somebody saying, start any other comments that you think is worth highlighting. Kian is saying, is this amputation done in public like the hangings? No, again, this picture is not, this is the only picture that we have of an amputation, and that's why this is the one that is used all the time. This is not the picture of this story. This is the only one amputation that has been done in Iran, right? This is not done in public. Even the hangings are usually not done in public. Hangings that are done in public are unique ones that are supposed to scare, like it's like usually a rapist or something like that, right? Usually hangings are not done in public. Special cases are done in publicly. But you're gone? You want to say
in
something?
This era nowadays. Yeah, Forever Stormy is saying that machine doesn't look like a medical device at all. Yeah, I have no idea what that is. It almost looks like a lathe or something.
Well, this is not,
so
again, this
terrifying.
is not the picture of the, yeah.
Yeah, they described the one that was used on these prisoners as somehow like a guillotine. And D is saying deforming people is no way of rehabilitating. Exactly.
I still can't get over the fact that this was done in a supposed medical setting, and the they managed to let him lose consciousness from bleeding and get infected. Like, what kind of a medical center is this? How did you not?
I can't believe this was done without anesthetic.
Yeah, why wouldn't they do it without anesthetic? Like, there's
to make
nothing
it as barbaric as possible, as inhuman as possible. This is literally like, it's.
Did they ask for payment?
It's literally medieval. Literally medieval. I read a really good piece from IranWire.com called Corporal Punishment in Iran, a State Frozen in Time. And it talks about how other states have moved on past methods of punitive justice that are meant to be dehumanizing, degrading, disabling, except for abnormal states like Iran.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, did they ask for payments for anesthetics as well?
Not to my knowledge, but it's so perverse that they're like, hey, if you pay us, we'll freeze your fingers and then put them back on.
We're thinking like this is a time to make.
Is this an extortion racket?
I want to meet the guy who looked at the situation like, can we make money out of this? And like, how is it? And how do you not see how the punishment is like? The punishment is less if you have more money. Okay, sure. That's a fair system. Oh, wait. I shouldn't be doing that. All right. Let's move on. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, because this is not nearly as severe and we can kind of make fun of Islamic BS.
Yay. I always like doing that. All right. Next news.
Inciting hatred. Turkish pop star arrested for joke on religious schools. I apologize. I'm about to butcher the Turkish language because I have literally no idea how this is supposed to be pronounced, but let's give it a shot. Okay. Recently, Gülsen Kolglu, a 46-year-old Turkish pop star, has been under house arrest and facing prosecution for a simple joke about Turkish religious schools that she made on stage. During a concert in April in Istanbul, Gülsen made a joke in which she said that her bandmate's quote-unquote perversion could be explained by his attendance in an Imam Hatip religious school. A video of the singer's comment went viral with the hashtag calling for her arrest. She was following the outrage, Gülsen was arrested for questioning and later detained. She was subsequently placed under house arrest after 4 days in jail and then indicted for inciting hatred. The outrage reached the senior members of the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's Justice and Development Party, or AKP for short. Gülsen later apologized for her comments and said it was a joke and never meant to hurt anyone. Gülsen's lawyers requested her release from house arrest, but was rejected. And she's previously been in big trouble because she wears like revealing outfits on stage and held up a pride flag in one of her shows, which we can see right there. And so this is absolutely ridiculous. So part of the
comments were so mild. Like she didn't insult. She didn't insult Islam. She didn't insult the Prophet. She didn't insult the Quran. She didn't insult Allah. She was like, "Oh yeah, I have perverse. Like my songs are like kind of."
No, she's making fun of a person that's a supporting musician in her band. Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, you have perversion because you went to a religious school, obviously." Haha, like
that is so mild. This is Turkey we're talking about?
Yes.
Like, I thought in Turkey, the only way you could get in trouble religiously if you come out like anti. This is Kemal Atatürk's Turkey?
Yes.
This is Kemal Atatürk's Turkey? Like, based on these things, how could they still pretend like Kemal Atatürk is like their hero after all of this? Have they heard what Kemal Atatürk has said? They still do. I mean, even Erdogan acts like this is the founding father. Like, have they heard what their founding father has to say about Islam? Should I show them their quotes? Like, based on these standards, that man would be executed right now. Like, literally. What is this? What is this? God damn it. Turkey. Turkey is like, oh, well, this is, how could they still pretend like this is like a NATO country? God damn it. This is a country
we really need them in NATO as much as I don't like this. So like, let's keep them in NATO, but like, let's forget ever putting them in the EU. But
okay. So Yuval is saying Atatürk is not the government's hero for quite a while now. They act like it. Oh, like they kind of still, I know it's not, but I mean, they still pay him the respects and act like he's like founding father. Like they do go through the symbolism and all that stuff. They do. Wonder if she would be in some trouble if she was gay. I mean, I don't know. This is Turkey, guys. Turkey is supposed to be extremely has a strong secular movement. Oh wait, Susanna. What? Okay, back. Are you back? Okay, what are you going to say?
So one thing I wanted to talk about is I've seen a little bit of conflicting information about exactly what the joke was. So in some translations, journalistic reportings of the joke is that the band member's name, his nickname is Imam. So like that's his nickname, and so they were like joking about that and saying like, "Oh, that's why you're perverse," blah blah blah. In other reportings of the joke, because obviously I don't speak Turkish, I can't understand what she said. She basically made a joke about him going to like a general religious school, and then some people say it was about him going to this specific kind of religious school, and the specific kind of religious school is the Imam Hatip school. And what Forever Stormy is saying, and this is what I wanted to say next, it's very important, is she's saying, I believe the Imam Hatip schools are linked to Erdogan himself. That dude is prickly. No wonder she ended up in jail. Yes, Erdogan studied at one of these Imam Hatip schools. And under Erdogan's reign, so to speak, the number of these kinds of schools has risen sharply. And so the whole idea about how she was inciting hatred, because I'm like, okay, even if she did make this joke, I don't understand how this meets the standard of inciting hatred. But they're saying that she's accusing all these people who went to these schools and everyone who appreciates the work of these schools, all this stuff. She's accusing them of being perverse. She's inciting hatred against them because she's saying that they're perverse, and obviously perversion is something to be hated, blah, blah, blah. So like that's the logic, which I think is absurd. Yeah. What do you think about that? What do you think about that link to Erdogan?
Okay, so this is like more political disguised as being religious, right? So I think
yes, and they also think that a lot of this has to do with signaling to his conservative base, because I believe the elections are coming up in 10 months. And the opposition to him has also seized on this, basically campaigning like, hey, come vote for us. Like, we don't want you to become the next Gulsen. Like, we want to go free Gulsen, all this stuff. So it's become heavily politicized.
Yeah. Okay. So again, this actually shows how religion is used, because a lot of atheists assume that religion is just used for religion's sakes always. Usually, religion is a tool for a different goal, right? Religion for religion's sake
is supposedly it has divine sanction that cannot question its authority.
Yeah, it's still okay. It's still horrible. I mean, it's a weapon for, perverse outcomes. Like it is. But it's still a weapon. It's still a dangerous weapon. So I'm not defending religion, okay? But I have to. If you want to understand how it's used, you have to politically. This is how it's used, right? Because a lot of atheists have this simplistic understanding of religion and think like every religious people, when they're using the religion, they're doing it for the religion itself. It usually is. Sometimes it's like that, but usually there's some ulterior motives, and religion is just a good excuse. Which is still, religion is horrible because it makes gives you good excuses for bad outcomes, right? Like bad events or bad activity, bad things that you wanted, evil things that you wanted to do. Without religion, it would be harder to come up with excuses for them. But when you put divinity behind them, it's easier to excuse them or justify them. Religion is useful for evil, for excusing and defending evil. That's what it's useful
exactly for. That otherwise would be intolerable. He is also pointing out that she was a target in the past for the way that she dresses and supporting the LGBT community, which has become increasingly difficult in Turkey nowadays, which is really unfortunate. It's really upsetting because they were having so much progress there.
Yeah, it's so sad because it was going the other way around. This it's crazy that Turkey at some point was looking into joining the EU. Like, it's embarrassing. Yeah. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Oh my God! No, this is so bad.
Oh no!
Sorry.
Okay. Oh wait.
It's no one died, but it's just like, oh God damn.
Yeah. Okay. Next news.
Okay, next news. Circumcision gone wrong results in almost completely amputated genitals. So this is really tragic. On September 5th, a baby was rushed to the hospital in northern Israel after his circumcision went wrong, with his genitals being almost completely amputated. The baby was taken to Haifa's Rambam healthcare campus, where 3 surgeons performed a long and incredibly complicated operation. Dr. Akram Asadi stated he had never seen such a severe injury due to circumcision in his 20 years as a surgeon. Later, it was found out that the mohel, or the person who performs the Jewish rite of circumcision, was uncertified and did not undergo the required training. Israeli media reported that it is too early to say if the surgery was successful. However, permanent damage is expected. Fortunately, the injury wasn't life-threatening, and the baby is reportedly in stable condition. According to the media reports, the child's parents knew this mohel, who also circumcised their eldest son. But such incidents can still occur, especially if the mohel isn't well trained.
This is such a nightmare. God damn, these parents should be in jail. Everybody here should be in jail.
Oh my God, no kidding.
God damn, imagine, like, so how is, like, he's gonna grow up with what?
We don't
Is
know.
he gonna? Oh my God. God, I hope they could, like, can they meet? He didn't lose his balls, did he? So he has his
I don't
balls.
know.
Can they make the rest of it? Is that how we gotten to that point scientifically? This is such a nightmare. God damn it! Take me out of this nightmare.
Armin, you have to think about it. This is an infant, so his anatomy still has to grow and change and develop throughout his lifespan. So any intervention that they make now is going to have reparative and reconstructive surgeries, corrective surgeries, probably multiple times throughout his life.
Oh my God. He's probably going to be robbed out of his normal sex life, right?
Yeah.
He's never going to have. It's never, like, you're not going to be able to have a functioning, like that area down there, man. Like, if you mess it up, like, you're screwed. Like, it's not like even healthy people sometimes struggle. Imagine if it's just not like there's nothing there, like, or like it's like what a guy, like, I don't know. This is so bad. But imagine, like, how much you hate your parents for this. I mean, I would be hating my parents.
The levels of depression that this will likely cause in adulthood are extreme. Think about how alienated this child will feel as he grows up, knowing how different he is from all the other kids around him.
Yeah, and he's always,
because kids are smart. You're going to know that something's wrong. You're going to know that you're different. People are going to make fun of you for it.
You know, I almost felt a little bit guilty for the parents because they were going to blame themselves for this. I almost felt bad for them, but you know what? They deserve all the guilt that they're going to feel. I honestly feel that they deserve all they have to. But imagine being the parent knowing this is what you did to your boy. This is what you did to your baby boy. Look at him. You did this. You did this. Because of your goddamn God and goddamn stupid idiots. You idiots. All of you who do this, you're such morons. You cut your baby. You're barbaric. All of you. Muslims, any Christian who still does that, Jewish people, you're barbaric. You're morons. You cut your babies. Disgusting.
You mutilate your children's genitals.
Fuck
this is mutilation. Even when it goes right, quote unquote, it's mutilation. Because someone in the live chat here makes a very good point. Masi is saying it will never be successful in any case. There's always permanent damage. And technically, they're right. The results of a circumcision are permanent damage.
I shouldn't have sworn. Guys, this video already has a problem. Sorry.
It's okay, Armin. I mean, it's something worth getting upset over, seriously. Yeah. And what I find really frustrating is, so obviously this was reported mostly in Jewish and Israeli media. Like, none of it attributes this to the fundamental problem of circumcision. Like, none of them actually talk about why this happens in the first place. Why does this occur? It's because of the fundamental barbarism of male genital mutilation to begin with.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to address this. Yuval is saying, child not feeling different is why many atheists still do this to their kids. Yeah, fuck them too, by the way. If you are worried about
feeling different, what does that mean?
Like, they want them to be like circumcised like other kids,
so
that they don't feel different. If they, first of all, you don't cut people just to make them look like other cut people. You don't mutilate. Oh, other kids are mutilated, so let's mutilate my child just because they are. If a child grows old want to do like, oh, I don't like my dick like this. Yeah, they could grow when they are 18. They could make that decision for themselves. Okay, let them make that decision for themselves. This is not your position to force that upon a baby that is being that has nobody else to protect them but you. You are being trusted with the well-being of a child, and you're betraying that trust. If they want that, they can choose that as an adult, especially when they're adult enough to use anesthetics. You know, babies, they can't put anesthetics on them. They feel all of that. And fuck you if you think it's okay because they're going to forget it. They're feeling it as you're doing it. They're going through pain. Extreme amount of pain. This is torture. The fact that they're going to forget it doesn't mean that they're not feeling it at that moment. There's no excuses for this. This should be a crime. Every doctor that does this, not just this Jewish like mumbo jumbo religious people, even the doctors who do this, they should all lose their license forever and go to jail for it as well. The parents should go to jail as well. Every parent that circumcises their child should go to jail.
I can't believe that there's a state sanctioned way in which you get certified as a mohel. Like, I mean, technically, if there's gonna be this institution and this practice, it's better than having it completely unregulated. But still, the idea of this being like state sanctioned and supported is so freaking crazy to me. And it's something that occurs, within America too. Like circumcision is very common in America, but way less so than in Europe, for example. Wait, there were some other good comments I wanted to highlight. And in Yuval's defense, I don't think he was endorsing this at all. I think he was just explaining the mentality. Yuval is also saying there's a growing group of non-circumcising parents in Israel. Excellent. It's actually quite surprising how many atheists still do it in Israel. Same thing in America. There's tons of completely non-religious people that do this.
It still comes from religion, though, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Even when atheists do it, it's because of the influence of religion.
And tradition, yeah. Forever Storm
tradition, not a tradition. All the traditions that make you circumcise your child is a tradition that comes from religion. It's this whole cutting your genitals is because of Abraham
blood
made the
sacrifice.
promise to Yahweh.
Yeah.
No, it was Yahweh. Just like there was a deal between Yahweh and Abraham. That's where it comes from. But yeah,
it's blood sacrifice. Forever Stormy is saying some babies are born with phimosis. This is one of the rare exceptions where circumcision is actually recommended. No one except a doctor should be allowed near a baby boy. Exactly.
So the only babies that should be circumcised is like less than 1% of the population, and they have a serious issue and they need that. Okay, so it's a medical thing.
Yeah, D is saying this is a Jewish tradition. Parents are told that they have to. And Doorknob Head is saying robbed out of a normal sex life. I'd say life-threatening. The way religion often encourages kids to attack folks with dysphoria too often leads to problems, including, I can't say this word for YouTube, so I will say self-deletion. Yeah. And Shriyash is saying, I know guys who want to get a circumcision because they see American adult video content. I can't say the P word, the prawn. They see American prawn and think their foreskin doesn't retract properly. Well, that's
true. Well, I mean, if that you can do that as an adult, you're completely fine. If you don't like the way it looks and you want to do a surgery and make it look differently, you're completely fine to do it. You can't do that to your baby. If as an adult, if you want to do that, go for it. Okay. Especially because as an adult, you get to use anesthetics. A baby, I don't understand why they do it, especially at the time that you can't use anesthetics. Like they don't. It's
8
crazy.
days after birth. 8 days.
Yeah. No. So Ian is asking, what didn't they use anesthesia during the procedure? No, they don't. They feel all of it. You can't use that on babies. Okay, it's harmful anesthesia.
Maybe local.
No, they don't.
Aesthetic.
No. We had an expert. They said they don't. If it's a baby, they don't use it. They're feeling all that. You imagine a sharp object at your genitals. Okay, the baby is feeling all of that, and the pain is not. People are like, oh, maybe babies don't feel pain as much as we do. They do. They feel all of that, maybe even more. Okay, so just imagine right now somebody coming at your genitals with a knife. Now imagine this helpless little baby feeling all of that. This is This is a human rights violation. This is like this is one of the greatest human. Like as we're speaking right now, babies are being tortured around the world. They're screaming and they're feeling sharp objects being put on the genitals, and they're feeling every second of that, every little bit of that, and the pain stays with them for a long time after the procedure is over. This is barbaric. And this is normal. And this, even in civilized countries, apparently this is normal. They just like do it. Like, hey, let's just torture babies. If this was done to an adult, go on.
Bread of Life is saying, when my oldest was born, the hospital acted like it was standard procedure. We didn't do it though.
Thank you.
Good job, Rebecca. Yuval is saying, in the United States, it was done to suppress sexual urges, endorsed by Kellogg's, aka the originator of Kellogg's cereal, who was an extremely psycho puritanical person. I can't talk. And he also supported FGM. Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah, imagine they do this to an adult. People will be outraged. Imagine if you just like go and grab like a, I don't know, 40-year-old man and just put him in a van and just tie him down and then cut his genitals. Like, just like not cut, just like put short out, just take a little bit of the skin. Okay, off. Like the guy is screaming, you just take off some of the skin. Okay, imagine the scenario. People, if they hear that, if you did that to a 40-year-old man, people will be outraged. But apparently, if you do that to a helpless baby, you won't get outraged. Why would you get outraged when they do that to a 40-year-old man against their will? But if you do it against a baby against their will, all of a sudden it becomes okay. I don't understand why one of them is. What's the difference?
I think Trells is also bringing up the good point. Even the case of phimosis, the notion that a full foreskin amputation is needed is probe cutting propaganda. Proper doctors will still preserve as much of the foreskin as possible. And Darko is saying his life is destroyed before he even started. And I think that's like really how we need to think about this. Like this person's ability to experience the essential human need of experiencing intimacy with a mate has been completely, just destroyed before he ever had any chance. It's horrific. Like the levels of depression and loneliness that this will probably cause in this individual are life altering.
Yeah. By the way, my dad says that one of the things he regrets the most is that he circumcised us. Yeah, he apologized for it. He was almost crying.
Oh, what was that experience like for you?
I don't know. I was 2 hours old. 2 hours.
Yeah. No, not the experience of circumcision, but your father apologizing for it, considering how much rage you hold against these parents who allowed this to happen to their son, and saying that they deserve every second of guilt that they experience. And then your dad coming to you with that personal regret that he says had and apologizing to you. Like, what was that like?
I'm much more forgiving when things happen to me than when it happens to other people, because I am in a position to forgive. I can't forgive on behalf of other people, right? So, but if somebody knows that they did something wrong, then I accept that they know they're a better person than they were before, right? So I will judge them. I judge who you are now, not judge who you were before. Like you're somebody new. So how could I And he feels guilty, and I think it's good that I say like they should go through the guilt, and my dad is going through the guilt. So what else can you ask for?
Yeah. Oh no, I think more people need to be outraged over the normalization of male circumcision. In fact, I think it should just be called male genital mutilation. I think that's more honest. And people act like it's something that's not a big deal, but it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. I didn't used to take it this seriously, but now I really do.
Thank you. I also hate the fact that people don't take it. People who take FGM, female genital mutilation, very seriously, and don't give a damn about male genital mutilation, right? I understand if you want to be like, okay, FGM is like more damaging, all right? I accept that. They usually are, but to not care at all about like be so serious about female genital mutilation and not even give a crap about male genital mutilation is kind of, I think it's a bit sexist.
It's not even a bit. It's horrifically sexist.
Yeah, it's actually very sexist. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so this next story is a big story, but no one was physically. Actually, that's not true. It's comparatively better.
Clappable.
Okay, it's being exposed. There's getting more light on this subject. Okay, more people are paying attention.
Exposed. So we can clap.
Problem. We will clap for this.
Okay. Next news.
Next news: failings of New York Hasidic education exposed by investigative report. The New York Times has released a report after a lengthy investigation into New York's Hasidic Jewish schools, also known as yeshivas. Hasidic leaders have denounced the summary findings, calling it cherry-picked data and outright lies that portray the Hasidic community as, quote, villains. Young advocates for fair education, or YAFED for short, began petitioning the New York State Education Department in 2011, alleging that children attending these schools are left, quote, completely unprepared to work in, interact with the world outside of his community. In 2019, the State Department of Education released a statement that out of the 28 schools they visited, only 2 met the quote-unquote substantially equivalent status, while others are still developing. YAFED said it is typical for a yeshiva graduate to have abysmal skills in basic math, writing, and English, as Yiddish is spoken in school and at home. According to the New York Times, this quote blew my mind. Okay, I want everyone to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. According to the New York Times, quote, only 9 schools in the state had less than 1% of students testing at a grade level in 2019, the last year for which there was full data. All of them were Hasidic boys' schools. I'm going to say that part one more time.
Yeah, one more time.
Only 9 schools in this state had less than 1% of the students testing at grade level in 2019. That means that 99% of the students were not testing at grade level. 99% of the students were not testing at grade level. 9 schools. All of those schools were Hasidic boys' schools.
Oh,
only 1% of the students were testing at grade level in these 9 Hasidic boys' schools. The Jewish community sees the
investigation. Can you speak non-American, because we don't know how American school standards are? Like, what do you mean by what are these standards, like grade A stuff? Like, what do you mean? Because we don't. Yeah.
There are standards for what students should be able to attain and show as markers of development for each grade level.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so these, obviously progress as you get older. And you are tested. There are standardized tests that you're supposed to go through to show where you are testing along these standards. Are you tracking with your peers? Are you falling behind? Maybe you're exceeding expectations, these kinds of things.
Okay.
So there were only 9 schools in the state of New York that had less than 1% of students testing at their appropriate grade level. There were 9 schools where only 1% was meeting expectations. All of them were Hasidic boys' schools.
Okay. Less than 1%. So, like, okay, so for example, all the schools have different percentages. Some of them are 90, some of them are 80. These 9 schools are less than 1%. So less than 1% of them are learning the things that they're supposed to be learning. And surprise, surprise, all the 9 schools that are failing this miserably, all of them are Hasidic. So there's no other school that is failing this miserably. All the schools that are failing this miserably are Hasidic Jewish ones, right?
Yeah. And I mean, there's other stuff we could get into, but that was the most shocking statistic.
Okay, and do they have Islamic schools as well, like madrasas and everything? I bet you they're doing very well, actually.
There must be in New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
There must be. But let me continue. The ultra-Orthodox Jewish community sees the investigation as a religious freedom issue and fiercely resists curriculum changes. Leaving the Hasidic community is extremely difficult, as former members have inadequate job skills and are usually forced to break ties with everyone and everything they've ever known. Footsteps.
That's the point.
Founded in
Wait. One second. I think that's the point. I think it's by design.
It is.
Okay, but
It
go on.
is.
All right.
Okay. And then I want to highlight the work of this organization. So Footsteps, founded in 2003, is the only organization in North America designed to help transition former ultra-Orthodox into society and help provide hope and vocational services to those who have made the brave decision to leave. Because I think when we highlight these issues, it's really important to talk about how people are trying to find solutions. And so highlighting the work of Yafed, who has actively been campaigning for years to get this issue appropriately addressed. And I've been following their work for a long time. And this investigation is almost like accumulation of that. And then also the work of Footsteps, who is working one-on-one with people to help them move forward, is so important. So there's so much I want to talk about this story. Like I said, I've been following this issue for a long time. And this was on the front page of the New York Times. This is a huge deal to finally have this out in the light like this. A few years ago, we talked on the show about how the New York Post, the New York Post gained access to government emails in which basically on various levels, on the state level, on the city level of the government of the former mayor Bill de Blasio, they were using quote unquote political horse trading with the ultra-Orthodox community because they are such an important voting bloc. There were emails that were leaked that showed them explicitly saying that this report that they were supposed to put out about the failings of these schools, they were like, oh, well, we'll use gentle language to talk about these things. So there has actually been legitimate corruption within the state in covering up this issue or basically treating it with kid gloves because of the political importance of a lot of this community. And it has led to the absolute failure and ultimately impoverishment of thousands within this community. So for those who are not familiar, oftentimes girls actually test better in these schools than boys because girls receive, surprisingly, maybe to some, more quote unquote secular education than the boys, because the boys are basically supposed to be only studying the Talmud all day so that they will then all become religious scholars at some point. And so there were some schools where they only teach kids any secular subject for 90 minutes at the end of a day of full religious studies. So it's a rushed 90 minutes, and they teach math and maybe English and maybe a little bit of history after you've been doing religious studies all day. So you're exhausted, and you only get that like every other day of the week, and only from the ages of 8 to 12.
I went to this part of New York. I have videos of me being there and interviewing people that I've never released anywhere. But one day I will. But it's actually pretty, they try to keep this community very isolated from the rest of New York, right? And it's a lot of people say, and I think it might be true, that not educating, because somebody in the live chat asked, let me see, I think it was Darko. Darko was asking, why are they so willing to handicap their own community like this? So that they stay. This might seem like a conspiracy theory, but people more expert than us in this have said that this is by design. Like, they want you to not have the skills to be able to be functioning outside of this community. So you not learning how to get a job or like know the things that you need to get a job outside of this community is the only thing, because they have to create this wall. They don't have a real wall. I mean, this is a very, very religious community. And, if you are in such a community, the outside world is actually very attractive. Imagine like the Amish people, but if the Amish people were living in the middle of New York, you would be losing their kid. I mean, the Amish people are already losing their kids fast, right? But imagine if they were living right next to all this secularism, then you would be losing them even faster. So they came up with this idea of like let's just handicap our kids. They're literally handicapping their kids so that they can't just like when they go out, they get terrified. They're like, what do I do? Like, I don't even know how to function here. And you come back. Like, see, come back home or we'll take care of you. That's what they do. What?
So there are some schools that literally put bans on children speaking or reading English in their own home. There are some schools that have rules against the parents using smartphones in their own home. So they're not allowed to attend that school if the parents uses a smartphone. I encourage people to go read the New York Times investigative report about this. It was very well researched and very well written. And they interview people who are current and former members, current and former people who went to these schools, worked at these schools, administrators, people in the Department of Education, all this stuff. And some of the stories of people who got out afterwards and tried to go live a normal life are so heartbreaking. One, I want to highlight the fact that Armin, your friend, Ari Herchovitz, he was highlighted in this article. So he talked about his experience. So shouts out to Ari. He's a hero of mine. And if you have Netflix, you can watch a documentary that highlights Ari's life and his story. It's called One of Us. And it talks about the issues of the ultra-Orthodox community and how severe it is for people who want to leave. So we're really going to encourage people to watch that as well to understand this in more totality. And it also talked about how like there are boys that leave. And there was one person they interviewed who was a third generation American who could barely speak English at the age of 15. His family's been living in America for 3 generations. There was another person who, when he finally decided to leave, it's impossible to get a job. They can't even write down like an order on a piece of paper in English. So
Ari himself did not know like anything about the internet or like when he left his community, his favorite thing in the whole world was Wikipedia. Like he didn't know how much stuff there is out there to know. And he didn't know how to use the internet. And when eventually somebody showed him, and like when he learned it, he was like a teenager, and he didn't know how to use the internet, right? And he was like, when he found out that he could actually, there's a thing that he could ask things from, and it gives you information. He became addicted to it. It was so cute. You should go watch that documentary. It was just like on Wikipedia all the time. It was so sweet. But like, oh my God, what is this thing? How is this possible? All the answers are here. It's amazing, guys. You should go watch that documentary. And this is in New York, guys. This is in the middle of the biggest city in the world, the most advanced city in the whole world. You have kids growing up not knowing what the internet is, like as if they're living in, I don't know, Darfur or something. Like it's crazy. Like and they're allowing that. How is this allowed? This should be against the law.
And they receive taxpayer money. These schools receive a disproportionate amount of taxpayer money. That's what the investigative report talks about as well. And Darko is saying I added One of Us to my list. Yes, everyone, please go watch this documentary. I cried. It's so good. Anyways, so what was I going to say? Oh yeah, there was another story of this guy who decided to leave. He really struggled to get a job. And then at the age, this almost made me cry when I was reading this today, Armin, the story. So this guy, he like left, he went to Montreal. He tried working at a bagel factory. He couldn't afford enough. Like, so he was like living on park benches. And then he had a neighbor who was nice enough to start teaching him how to speak English. And she gave him the first secular book he ever had. And that book was Green Eggs and Ham. And he got that book at the age of 28.
No.
And I don't know, that made me really emotional because, like, for those who don't know, like, Green Eggs and Ham is like a standard book you read to babies, like, when you're growing up in America. And I just think about, like, what that symbolizes in so many ways to hundreds of thousands of people. Like, they have to go out into the world as a baby. And they have nothing. And so many of them fall into drug addiction and hurting themselves because they've Yeah, I don't know. That really got to me. Like when they said the way that they wrote it, there's like he got his first secular book ever. It was Green Eggs and Ham. Period. He was 28. Period. I don't know. That really broke my heart.
Just to be clear, secular, when they say, I've been there, like they call secular books anything that is not explicitly religious. Like all of basically every normal book that is not about Judaism, they call it secular books. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in these schools, for the boys, like they literally redact or just take Sharpies over any pictures of a girl or a woman.
Yes, I saw that when I was there. It was worse than Tehran, guys. I was raised in Iran. Okay, I was raised under a theocratic regime. Okay, in Iran, when they have like stocking, like they're selling stockings or underwear for women. Okay, in the store they Sharpie the legs. Okay, and maybe the hair. Okay, to cover it. Okay, in New York, they cover the entire girl. Like I was like, what is this? Like in the books, like secular books, the girls were all Sharpied. Like not just like her skirt, like she was wearing a skirt and you cover her legs or cover her hair. Eliminated. No girls in books. It was insane. Like, what is this? This is worse than Tehran. This is worse than Iran. In the middle of New York. And this is not Islam. This is Jewish. Yeah.
I think so. I'm really, really happy that this is finally getting more exposure. This is so crucial. And I think if you look at the thumbnail we have in this video, there's been huge protests about finally there has been major motions that have been passed within New York City to mandate more oversight over these schools. And in response, there's been lots of protests by the community. And if you see in this thumbnail, there are people protesting who said, we will sit in jail rather than change our children's education.
No.
Like, I just have nothing. I don't know. I don't even know how to respond to something like that. It's so self-explanatory in a way. And I think one of the things that's really difficult is that in response to these things, the community comes forward and basically waves the flag of anti-Semitism, which I think is also such a huge disservice, not only to the community itself, but to their children. But obviously they don't see it that way. And when the New York Times sent out a summary statement to all of these sources, all of these schools, basically saying, this is what we're going to publish. If you have any final comment, this is your opportunity to say something. And then they all started raising the red flag, raising the high alert about this, defamatory issue that's going to come out in the New York Times. They basically started saying that, and this is true, there has been a huge rise in anti-Semitic violence across America, but also particularly in New York against the ultra-Orthodox community. Like, I can't deny this. It's true, and it's actually quite severe. And so, Armin, I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. They're basically saying releasing this kind of information now is extremely irresponsible, given the sharp rise in anti-Semitic violence that we're seeing in New York itself.
You know what? You know what's anti-Semitic? Treating Jewish children like this, handicapping. That's anti-Semitic. This is anti-Jewish.
The state allowing this to continue would be anti-Semitic.
This is actually pro-Semitic. You're saving the Jewish children. You can't be more pro-Semitic than this. You're helping them from abuse. You're saving them from abusive parents. This is pro-Jewish. This is not anti-Jewish. This is pro-Jewish.
A lot of these schools actually do. There's been major accusations of severe corporal punishment in these schools, and like I don't even know if I want to repeat some of the things that were reported by the New York Times. And what I learned in the New York Times is that corporal punishment is still allowed in private schools in New York State. That itself blew my mind. What the F? We're allowing the abuse of children. The law sanctions the abuse of children in the private school setting just because it's a private school. What the hell is going on here? So that itself was like a bombshell to me, and like this needs to be addressed. But oh wait, what do you have here?
Okay, so because people think I might be exaggerating, so I wanted to show some evidence. Okay, this is the this is the New York Post, is it? The New York Times. Sorry, I always get those confused. Okay, look, this is not the level of censorship I'm used to in Iran. Okay, and this is in pages from a censored textbook used in a Hasidic yeshiva in Brooklyn. Okay, shows that boys cannot see images of girls or read the names of many non-Jewish holidays. Okay, in Iran, we had cartoons that were from other countries. Like if there was cartoons that made by Iran, the girls had hijab and everything. But we still saw cartoons from other countries with girls like showing their hair and stuff. That was not censored. Anyways, look at this. Today, so the left one is the non-censored one, and the right one is the censored one. Like today, we celebrate Chinese New Year. Okay, so on the Jewish side for the Jewish schools, like look at this. This girl's like, why is this girl censored? Like the entirety of the girl, and that one, that's a girl, like an old lady. They're not even doing something that is like, she's holding food. Don't you like? She's doing something traditionally like womanly. I mean, according to tradition.
She's in the kitchen. Okay.
She's serving food. Why is she censored? Okay, and here, okay, this one I get. Look, the girl.
This one I get.
Okay, so the girl changed the flat tire. The girl is censored, and the word "girl" is also censored.
That's
because
crazy.
Girls don't. Yeah, like the girl.
The erasure of woman is so severe that you cannot be exposed to the word that describes a female.
No, because she's changing a flat tire. Girls are not supposed to change tires.
I don't. It's so crazy.
Guys, this is in New York, okay? I'm not talking Pakistan. I'm not talking Saudi Arabia. This is taxpayer funded in the United States, okay? Okay, the word Halloween is censored here. Christmas is censored. Oh, look, the war on Christmas is not happening by us atheists. It's happening by the Jews. The war, like they think, like they accuse us. We celebrate. Atheists celebrate Christmas. Here's your war on Christmas.
Shut up.
What is this? Look at this. People are enjoying a swimming pool. The entirety of people in a swimming pool is censored.
Well, because it's sex mixing.
And there's a girl sat in a ring, and the word "girl" is censored. The word "girl" is censored. This is allowed. This is not only just allowed. This is taxpayer funded in the United States. Go figure.
Yeah, there's so much more about this story that I want to get into, but I mean, it goes so deep. It goes so deep, but we can't get into all of it. So I would again encourage people to go read the full New York Times story. But Armin, could you please bring up the two things that I put in the show notes to display?
Yes.
Okay, so the first one is from Footsteps Organization. Once again, I want to plug and celebrate the work of Footsteps Organization because they are, again, the only organization in the United States specifically meant to help transition people who leave these ultra-Orthodox, high-control communities and help them, enter normal life. And so, Armin, I will need you to toggle through this slideshow, but it says, as a Footsteps member, what is one thing that you would like to tell people reading the New York Times article about Hasidic schools? And so I thought it'd be really important to share what people who left these communities have to say about this report. So one quote is, just because you didn't experience it personally doesn't mean it isn't happening. Listen to people's stories. It is often very unsafe for people within the community to speak up. Fighting for my children's education almost resulted in me losing custody of them. Just because you turned out fine doesn't make this okay. Don't use this article as an excuse to hate Jewish people. Use it to uplift us and help us. the fact that we know some people who got degrees and can list them shows the rarity. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, look, this person went to yeshiva. He turned out fine. He has a degree, blah, blah, blah. They're like, well, you can only point to some. That shows how hard it is.
By the way, the ones that have managed to get out of this, you have to like really, there must have been geniuses. Like they are really special.
Oh, seriously. The article wasn't to harass, simply to point out the importance of education. This is not anti-Semitism. My child's life was destroyed by a judge looking away at his lack of education. And then they say, you know, if you want more information about how to get involved or how to get help, go check out the Footsteps website. And the second thing that I wanted to show is, here we go, is the Yafed organization. So Yafed is the primary organization who has been fighting to get this issue addressed for over 10 years. And I love their work. It was founded by a former yeshiva student. They help give scholarships to people who want to pursue a genuine secular education or to help fill the gaps of their own education. They help lobby the government. They help go to government agencies and make sure that this is being addressed, that they're being paid attention to. And they said, committed to improving secular education, in Haredi and Hasidic schools, because every child has the right to learn. And I think this is how this needs to be framed. This is about making sure that the services that are available to other students in the United States are available to these children in ultra-Orthodox communities as well, because they are American citizens. They have the same rights as other American children, and they should, you know, have... The state needs to step in and protect their interest, basically, in many of these situations. Please go check out and support their work.
This is also a reminder to ignore any religious parents that says, it's my children, I could do whatever I want. You don't own your children, okay? We have stopped selling and buying human beings. Humans don't own other humans, okay? We have trusted you with taking care of our humans that come out of your body or come out of the body of people you had sex with, okay? If you prove us otherwise, the government has to step in and take that and reevaluate that trust, okay? So parents don't get to choose what happens to their children because they don't own the children. The government has to make sure that they're being taken care of, including making sure that they have all the skills they're required to become independent and take care of themselves. We have 10-star comments. Do you want to read them?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if we have time to go through all these. Let's see. We addressed this. We addressed this. Forever Stormy is saying about how there's only less than 1% in those 9 schools. There are like dozens of schools that were looked at, but this was just 9 that, you know, met that abysmal standard. She said those 1% are kids are probably Einsteins that should be shipped off to MIT. Forever Stormy is saying most madrasas are not evaluated as part of this report. Do you mean the report by the New York Times or the data received by the Department of Education itself? Because that should have included all schools. But I do know that they, the author said that a lot of this information is not just already compiled. Like they had to go out of their way to go ask for this information and basically compile this data themselves. So
the Islamic Muslims in the United States don't have the strategy of handicapping your children to stay in the community. Okay, in fact, they seem to be having the opposite approach of trying to get people as high as positions as possible. So maybe more of them become congressmen and women, or stuff like that. So I mean, actually, to be fair, Jewish people also, right? So this is not the entirety of the Jewish community. This is like very fringe group within the Jewish community in the United States, right? So yeah, maybe. So actually, I take that back because maybe there's problematic madrasas as well in the United States. Just because many of them don't have this approach doesn't mean that there are not some. that might happen.
But these tactics that are used are, I want to be clear, I think that these ultra-Orthodox communities are cults, straight up destructive cults.
Yes.
They are. It's the level of control that they exert upon their members and community is extreme, so extreme. It's worse than the Jehovah's Witnesses, who most people identify as a destructive, full-blown cult. And I think there needs to be more appropriate labeling of that. That doesn't mean that we're evil. That just means we are saying the methods that you use to control your community are destructive to human prosperity and creativity.
Yeah. Also, most Jewish people are not ultra-Orthodox.
Oh, in fact, by a long shot.
Yeah. So how could this be anti-Semitic? Aren't Jewish people actually, on average, more educated than the average Americans? Like, I would guess. Like,
I don't know.
I feel like if you
based on the last data I saw, yeah.
Yeah, I think if you like ignore ultra-Orthodox and just look at the Jewish community as a whole, then I think like they don't have this problem at all. In fact, they are like more educated. Yeah. So how could this be anti-Semitic? Like nobody's talking about the Jewish Americans. People are talking about the problems in ultra-Orthodox communities. Like I don't understand that.
As a religious and sacred mandate to preserve a way of life that was nearly eradicated in the 20th century. They literally talk about replacing the 6 million.
Oh, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Who says? Who the ultra-Orthodox community want to replace?
I know within some ultra-Orthodox communities. That is the mentality. We have a duty to preserve this way of life because it was nearly eradicated, and we also have a duty to replace the 6 million that were lost.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
So a lot of it's a trauma that informs a lot of this, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I have something to say. I don't know if it's YouTube friendly.
Oh Jesus! Okay, let's not say it then. I'm so.
It's not bad.
So just by you, I don't know what to expect anymore.
Okay, all right. Let's go finish the comments.
Oh, and Yuval's bringing up a good point that I kind of left hanging when I was talking about why girls are actually better educated. He's saying, Susanna, girls are given more general education because they are ideally supposed to provide for the scholarship of the husbands. Because the husbands are basically supposed to spend all of their time studying the Talmud, becoming more religious and scholarly, and the women have to keep the home and work. So in many other ultra-traditional religions, women are kept at home. They're not allowed to work. But it's the reverse in this case that surprises most people. The women work the most.
Okay. I figured out a way to say it that is like that people are not going to take it the wrong way. Okay, so I was worried if I say it like without thinking, I would say it in a way people think like I'm saying something that I'm not, but I think I got it. Okay,
cool.
Religious, a lot of religious people, not all, use tragic events as a way to build a sect or a movement of their specific religious on top of it. Okay, again, I'm not saying the tragedy was not tragic. Okay, just because I'm saying that a religious sect is using that as a way to promote, like for example, okay, Falun Dafa, right? Falun Dafa or MEK, different cults. Okay, these were Falun Dafa is genuinely prosecuted, and attacked and violently hunted down by the CCP, by the Chinese government, okay? And it's a human rights violation, and nobody should deny otherwise because the evidence is there, okay? However, Falun Dafa is also a dangerous cult, okay? And it's using the victimhood of its members as a way to promote its cult. You saying that Falun Dafa is using this human rights violation doesn't mean that it's not a human rights violation, okay? So, again, the MEK is also a very dangerous cult. The Iranian government has killed thousands of MEK members in a and that's one of a human rights violation that we actually try to bring attention to as a mass massacre that has been forgotten in history. But we're still against the MEK. We understand that they're the victims of the Iranian government. We don't want to take anything away from that. But we saying that the MEK is a dangerous cult is not denying that tragedy. Okay. So in a similar way, I had to use these two other examples so nobody takes me out of context. Okay. I'm just saying that the fact that the things happened in World War II and the 6 million Jews were taken out like in gas chambers and stuff like that. If I say that these people are using that narrative as a way to promote their cult, I'm saying that without trying to take away anything from how significant and how like important that tragedy was. Okay, that is absolutely very safe. See, I think I'm doing a good job at saying things.
You did an excellent job. You did an excellent job. See, I love it when you take just a moment to really think about what you're going to say. It works out so good because I know you can do it.
Okay. I'm getting better at this. I'm
proud of you.
Oh, you highlighted this. Okay.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to.
Oh, so bread of life?
Did you want to respond to this? Bread of life is saying, Rebecca, the we sounds a bit creepy. Does the government own
Armin, not Rebecca. Armin, you said Rebecca.
Oh, okay. So Rebecca is saying, Armin, the we sounds a bit creepy. Does the government own the children? Which government? Some governments are not trustworthy either.
Yes. Nobody owns the children. Okay. But the government's role is to protect its citizens. Okay. The most important citizens that it needs to defend are the ones that cannot speak for themselves or protect themselves, right? And are not in a position to advocate for themselves, right? So the government understands that the most likely people that are going to be the people that are most likely are able to take care of this child are the parents. Okay, so that's why we trust the parents. We don't give the parents the children to take care of the children just because they own them. We understand that these are the most likely the people that are the most likely to take care of the children and give them all the things that they need, the love, the care, right? That the government's responsibility is to make sure that all children get the care that they need, including the skills that they need to eventually take care of themselves, right? That's why they give them, based on we have a social contract, that the guardians of the children are their biological parents, unless otherwise, like they're adopted or there's a certain situation. That trust is not supposed to be guaranteed. A good government can reevaluate that trust if the biological parents indicate in any way that they should not be trusted with the care of the child. And the government, as the body that is supposed to take care of its citizens, especially the children, would have to step in and check if that trust should be granted to them or not, right? So if you say which governments, some governments are not trustworthy either, yeah, well, then we have a problem, okay? So now we have a bigger problem, okay? So now you can't trust the parent and you can't trust the government to take care of its citizens, including children. That's a position where you're screwed. I don't know what to do, okay? But in situations where the government could be somewhat trusted, then we expect this government to look at children who are not being taken care of very well. For example, parents who are not vaccinating their children, parents who are refusing blood transfusion to their children, or parents who are not giving their children the proper education that they require to be functioning members of society. If you fail as a parent, you can't come in and say, it's my kid, I could do whatever I want. No, screw you. The government comes in and protects the child.
Yeah, especially because these are American citizens. Their rights are guaranteed under their constitution, whether or not the parents, understand what should be available to them. So I just want to highlight Ion saying, yes, Armin, you did a good job. Oxymoron's like, good job. And Ion is saying, Ali Dawa Vice, we're proud of that.
And no, this one, you're getting the credit for this. For restoring.
Susanna's good company is rubbing off on Armin. I don't know if it's my good company or me just maybe coming down on him too hard every now and then. I feel bad sometimes.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I don't know if I'm more motivated by not getting a backlash from the community, or I'm actually motivated by not traumatizing you. I think I'm more motivated by not traumatizing Susanna.
But you like to traumatize me. What are you talking about?
On purpose.
Ah.
I like to traumatize you when I'm doing it on purpose.
Oh, guys, you have no idea how bad it gets for me off screen. The stuff Armin says to me, literally, I think might be illegal.
It is. It is.
Oh my gosh.
Rebecca is saying, I like the response that the government has the responsibility to protect the citizens, especially the ones who cannot speak for themselves. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so then Doorknob Head is saying Susanna is glowing with pride for Armin. I guess she hasn't seen the Armin Secularity show yet from yesterday. Did I type that out loud? Okay, yes, I did see the show. I thought it was excellent, but Armin did say something that made me just scream out loud. God damn it, Armin.
Oh yeah, guys, go watch that.
You knew what you said when you said it. I was like, what is wrong with this man? Like, literally, what is wrong with him?
Yeah, guys, go watch the Ask Atheist Anything episode with.
If you want to find that specifically what I'm referring to, I left a comment that tags that timestamp.
Yeah, go look in the comments and look for Susanna's comment. Yeah.
Can F our organization as hard as Armin can. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I love you.
I love you too.
Our founder shooting us in the foot every day.
Hey, I made secular rarity. He at first he was shocked, but then he played along, so it can't be that bad if he got along. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm throwing him under the bus.
It's okay.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. Can we clap for the next news?
No, this is not good.
Oh, god damn. Okay.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. Next news. Islamists behead 6 and shoot none in Mozambique. On September 6th, at least 6 people were beheaded and an Italian nun was shot and killed in Mozambique's Nampula province. According to reports, Daesh has claimed responsibility for the attacks. In June of 2021, here's some background. Due to an escalation of Islamic State-linked insurgencies, the 16-member Southern Africa Development Committee, or SADC for short, approved the deployment of troops into Mozambique. A Telegram channel, which is an encrypted messaging app associated with the group, also issued a statement saying that Sister Maria de Copi went, quote, too far in spreading Christianity, according to Reuters. The insurgency has displaced almost 800,000 people and caused a $20 billion natural gas project to halt entirely. President Felipe Nyusi said this latest killing spree occurred as insurgents fled from SADC soldiers. The insurgents often attack security force posts and convoys, as well as civilian state workers and facilities such as schools and clinics. They also injure, kill, and kidnap residents, especially young children and women. Mass beheadings take place as revenge for resisting recruitment or assisting the authorities.
People are asking in live chat. Daesh is ISIS. Daesh is the Arabic for ISIS. By the way, they hate it that you call them that, which is they like to be called the Islamic State. They don't like the acronyms. Daesh is also an acronym. Yeah. But yeah, so Forever Stormy saying ISIS has become a cancer that has
metastasized
all over the world. Yeah, especially in Africa. Like, I don't know if people understand that Daesh is Daesh. ISIS is very, very active in Africa, like all over. It's crazy.
In Mozambique, it's super bad. And then also in the Sahel region, just all throughout the Sahel. It's really bad. Like, we've been covering what's been happening on the borders of Uganda and the Congo recently. The DRC, I mean. Yeah, those are some areas where it's really severe. We've covered some of the extreme violence that happens in Mozambique within the past few years. There was one attack where I think 115 people were killed. Really, really horrific stuff. And it's slightly geopolitical in that a lot of recruiting that happens into this local ISIS group, which I think might be called Al-Shabaab locally, but I think it's a different Al-Shabaab, I'm not sure, happens because Mozambique is supposed to be having this oil project. Again, it's, natural gas. $20 billion natural gas project. So this country has a lot of resources. But people who feel disenfranchised by their inability to gain access to this wealth the nation should be garnering become fertile ground for recruitment, essentially. Or that's what some analysts have said.
And before anybody criticizes Susanna saying, how could you be talking about money when people are dying? Money means less people die, especially in Africa, okay? Like not having enough economic resources is literally killing people, okay? Directly responsible for killing people. This is an area where it needs funding fast, okay? So this is when you talk about money coming into these countries, it is about people's lives.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also from the sense that fundamentalism thrives the most when material conditions are abysmal.
Yes.
There's so many different social studies that show this throughout history and then also comparatively among nations. Communities and nations are more fundamentalist when they have less economic prosperity. And then as you gain economic prosperity, that's when you see economies and nations secularize. Because when you are living hand to mouth, like you cognitively need something a lot greater to help alleviate the mental stress you go through, because there are protective psychological factors to having a belief. Like this is just a fact, whether or not some atheists like to admit it. I just see it from the perspective of a psychological utility. You know what I mean?
Right. Is this the lady that they shot?
Mm-hmm. They shot her in the head.
Can you imagine this face and thinking, I'm gonna shoot that in the face, in the head? Like, look at her.
She had been in Mozambique since 1963, gained a Mozambican citizenship, and they think that she was running in between buildings to try to go to the building where the children of the orphanage were hiding when they found her and killed her.
But oh my God. Okay. But why would you shoot her?
Because she went too far in spreading Christianity, according to them.
Yeah, you have to be some high level of evil that you could look at that face and shoot her in the head. Maybe I'm being actually. You know what? I'm actually feeling disgusted by myself, because if this was a young man, I would be feeling like they're less. Like if this was a 30-year-old man, I would be feeling less how could you shoot this than this old. No, actually, I get it, because I'm struggling internally, because she looks harmless. You know what I mean? She looks so harmless. So I don't understand the mindset that wants to shoot that. Actually, but again, internal struggle. Daesh's ideology, she's not harmless. She's actually extremely dangerous. She's spreading Christianity. She's actually worse than
taking away people hereafter.
Yeah. So to us, she looks like a cute little old lady that is harmless. To a Daesh member, she might be actually a man, an enemy of ours, that is a 30-year-old man with a gun, that he's less harmful than this one lady. He's taking our lives. This lady is taking people's internal chance to bliss and happiness. She's so they see her as extremely evil. Yeah. But imagine, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's really important to highlight.
Internal? Do you think there's anything when you point a gun at the face like this and pull the trigger? Do you think that at that last moment there's something internally that might be you kind of suck. Like stop. Like, do you think there's a force? Like, has Daesh brainwashing has managed to kill all that like voice completely, or there's like something in them that says like this is not right. I shouldn't be doing this.
It depends. So honestly, like humans do not like to enact this level of harm upon other humans because we're pro-social beings. Most of us in our nature, except for the minority that have legitimate antisocial disorders, but that's a minority, right?
Yeah.
So for people to be able to enact violence, let alone this level of violence upon other people, speaks to a depth of desensitization and exposure to violence that probably most of us can't think of, because I actually think that it's not really within the nature of most of us to be able to do something like this. Like really gnarly stuff has to happen to you to get to this point, in my opinion, in my understanding of what I've learned in my research of human psychology.
So you don't think like the person that shot this lady in the head, do you think, what are the chances of him going when he's sleeping the night after, or the night that he did this, thinking like some gross feeling that what he did? Do you think like they just go to sleep no problem, maybe even congratulate themselves, or they feel icky inside?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. It's really brutal. And I think one reason why I wanted to talk about this story is that, you know, even though there are other geopolitical factors that go into stories like this, one, it is obviously religiously motivated because they say that she was spreading Christianity too much. So we can attribute this to fundamentalist Islam. But two, it's always, we need to be, and I have to thank our editor D for this, we need to be paying more attention to these things that are happening in Africa, because a lot of people don't realize how active ISIS is in Africa, one. And two, Africa is undercovered in general.
Okay, and somebody might blame us. Somebody might say like, "Oh, all these people." ISIS. Okay, here's a criticism to us. Okay, see how you respond. I'm doing it on myself. Okay, all these a white lady has to die for you to pay attention to Africa. What do you say?
I mean, frankly, that was not what caught my attention. What caught my attention was the 6 people who were beheaded.
Yeah.
There's more reporting that I was able to find on this one particular victim through Catholic news agencies and stuff like that.
Do you think that the reason why there's more reporting on this is because the victim was white?
I think it's because she was a Catholic.
And
Catholics are extremely active in reporting on stuff like this.
Okay, yeah. Were the other 6 people white?
I don't know.
I'm trying to go woke here. See if I could like maybe the Catholic news agency is like having the picture, like were the other 6 people Catholic as well, but black, and that's why we don't have their picture? I don't know. We'll see.
I literally could not find much information at all about the other people who were victims.
Maybe because
I know that
by the way, don't feel attacked. Like I'm talking about the. Okay, so first of all, I'm not attacking you because you're not a journalist. You have to rely on secondary information. You're not on the ground there, right? So if there's no picture, right? I'm just wondering if the news outlets out there, the reason why we don't have pictures of the other 6, maybe is because they're black. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe this would be the biggest highlight.
I mean, that's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's maybe this is just my own framing of it's flawed. I think it's probably because they're most likely just like random civilians and villagers versus this Catholic nun has a position within a global organization that can get some spotlight on this.
Right.
I mean, those random villagers were probably black, let's be honest. So I don't know. Depends on how you like to look at that kind of thing.
Yeah. Anyway, just something to think about. Like I'm trying to include other perspectives here, not always like okay. So can we?
Oh, this is such a sweet message. Randolph is saying, I have to get my live stream ready. It starts in about 20 minutes. Thanks for an excellent and highly informative live stream video. Atheist Republic.
Thank you,
Randolph.
Thank
Have a
you.
fun
Thank
time in
you.
your live stream yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we can clap for this next news. We don't like it, but in comparison to what we've covered, this is a cakewalk.
Okay. Next news.
Next news. Christians escalate harassment of pagan festivals. During Witch Fest, held annually in mid-July, dozens of aggressive Christian preachers stormed into the gathering of pagans and witches celebrating their community. Witch Fest is a nonprofit organization that raises funds for various pagan groups and strengthens community bonds. Some members of conservative Christian groups and street preachers always make it into pagan celebrations. Still, their numbers were far larger this year than expected, with around 30 evangelicists showing up. The organizer of Witch Fest USA, Star Ravenhawk, was extremely upset by the disruptions. A Christian group gathered on a street corner near one of the workshop stalls around 10 a.m., later entering the event space itself. Many vendors left early, feeling threatened. The group began preaching to the attendees to rectify their ways. Ravenhawk called the police, but according to her, the cops did nothing. She said, "The officers treated us as if we were invading the Christians' space, as if they had more rights than we do." Ravenhawk said that the people that came this year were not just protesting, adding, "They are collectively at war with us." They made that clear. Attendees at an Atlanta Mystic South conference were also harassed similarly on the same weekend as this year's Witch Fest.
Wait, can you do what happened exactly? Can you explain?
Okay, let me pull up my sources just a second. So basically, where is it? Okay. So a lot of pagan events are usually held outside because one, they are into the earthy things like that. So they try to do them in outdoor spaces, and this oftentimes it allows for a lot of harassment to occur. The Christian
They
group,
also have a lot of my picture of pagan events is like lots of flowers, lots of sun, a
crystals.
summery event, crystals, and psychedelics, right?
Maybe.
And lots of sex.
Maybe.
That used to be I used to have a very positive image of what pagan festivals were like until this movie came out called Midsummer. Do you know what I'm talking about?
But that's like a dramatized.
I know, but it just ruined it. Now it's like all of the things I said: summer, flowers, lots of sex, psychedelics, and murder. Okay, a lot of murder apparently.
Okay, you're gonna let a fictional thriller. Okay,
yeah,
I have no words.
Okay.
But let's get into what happened at this real life event, not what happened in a fictional movie.
Okay.
A Christian group took up a prominent position on one street corner as the festival began at 10 a.m., then began talking to attendees and preaching into amplification devices. Among them, Ravenhawk said she recognized members of the New York City chapter of the Christian Forgiveness Ministries, a Toronto organization that sent visitors before. After her security team asked the preachers to leave, Ravenhawk called the police as she had done in past years. But for the first time, cops did nothing, she said. The Christians say no one is being bothered, Ravenhawk was reportedly told by the officers. So the Christians are saying, "Oh, no one's bothered by us." In the past years, officers would relocate the preachers to the far side of Astor Place, where they would continue without use of the speakers, which would require a permit. This year, the Christian groups were allowed to remain at the festival with their sound amplification. According to Ravenhawk, the officers said the preaching was freedom of speech. It is unclear whether the group had permits. So they're not allowed to use bullhorns and microphones and all this stuff unless they had a permit. And so usually that's how these things get shut down, is basically on that technicality. But this year, they were allowed to keep doing that stuff, even though it's completely unclear whether they actually had the permitted necessary to do something like that. One attendee said when the police had the opportunity to downgrade things by possibly escorting the troublemakers off the areas, they chose not to de-escalate. then when the protesters moved the workshop tent away from the corner near the preachers, the Christian groups followed. At a certain point, the protesters were not only in the surroundings in the corners of the events with microphones and banners, but inside it, said Leifer, whose class had to be canceled due to the preachers. And then he replied, "We are not publicly protesting at their churches on a Sunday."
You should. Why not? Like, find their churches. Go, like, yeah.
I mean,
Why
he's
are
just
they?
trying to speak to how,
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? Asymmetrical the relationship is.
Why are they doing this, the Christians? They're trying to save them? Or
Yeah,
harass
they're
them?
trying to say that, you need to save your immortal soul. You're doing things that are horrible. You need to return to the one who created you.
Why not just, like, I don't know, show your boobs or something? That scares them off. Or go kiss in front of them. Like, yeah, why don't you just, like, have, like, men kissing men, girls kissing girls, flash your boobs?
Well, I don't
Flash your...
think that's more of a pride parade kind of thing. I
It
don't
works
know.
for them. It works for them. It works for you. It's a Christian weakness. It's their Achilles heels. Like, sexy stuff. Like, okay, just try.
It's kind of weird. I don't know why this is happening, why it's escalating nowadays. I think it's like a culture war kind of thing. Like culture war of like QAnon and Satanism and all this stuff. I think people are more mobilized against things that they see as pagan and
Yeah.
anti-Christian because they think it's satanic and bringing down the country or something. That's my own speculation. What do you think?
Yeah. It's also taking the heat off of us atheists with all this pagan stuff and satanic stuff. Like, the Christians are like atheists seem a lot milder when you have, like, people just worshiping the Satan left and right, and literally bringing back paganism. Paganism is growing, by the way, in the United States, like, really growing, like, to the point where debates online are now happening with pagans. Like, that's how, like, there used to be debates with atheists, Muslims, Christians, deists, and, like, pagans were like, what? Like, they were just like a fringe of a fringe, like a small minority of people that we thought that they just, like, I don't know, light fire and just dance around it. But now they're actually so serious that they're showing up in debates, online YouTube debates, and they're like, "So you believe in Odin?" And they're like, "Yeah." Like real, like it's like for real, like Odin, like you believe Odin is real? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, they're serious. I'm like, okay. Sure. I mean, it's not more ridiculous than Islam or Christianity, so why not? I was like they literally talk about going to Valhalla and stuff. Like, they believe it's a real place, and they
Oh,
have,
wow.
yeah, it's growing. I don't know if people realize
Wait,
how
doesn't
fast
that mean that they need to go essentially wage jihad to get into
they.
Valhalla?
Yeah, but they have they're doing the Islamic thing on it. They like rereading the scripture, and coming up with new interpretations of what this means.
Now is
And
it
there's,
an interpersonal and inner jihad?
I don't know what it is, but no, like, for example, I saw, like, there's some really disgusting things in, like, about Ragnarok and stuff like that. And I was listening to their debates, and I was like, oh no, that's like, there's no proof that was part of our religion. That's what Christians brought to our religion. I'm like, oh my God, you sound like Muslims and Hindus and Christians. Like, like the problematic. They're not. You know how, like, Muslims say,
For
like,
that
oh,
one,
the
they might
hadith.
actually have a point, though.
I know, but it's like, it just sounds so, like, I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but it's just so interesting to hear. They have defense. They're coming up with defenses about the problematic parts of, I don't know, Ragnarok, or things about the Nordic religions. It's interesting. By the way, most of the pagans that are participating in debates are into Nordic. Like, I haven't seen, like, what kind of pagans are these?
I don't know.
Yeah, no?
There's so many different kinds.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair that we call them all pagan. Like, all, like, the pagans themselves are referring to themselves as pagan, which shows how simplistic their mind, how Abrahamic mindset. They have an Abrahamic mindset about their own religion.
I don't know if that's fair. I think it's just because they've been given that umbrella label, now it's convenient to organize under that. It's because they're in a monotheistic Abrahamic hegemony.
Right. Okay, sure, fine. But like pagan is like so many different religions that are as related to each other as Christianity or Islam is to those pagan religions. So to just pit everything that is not Abrahamic and not Hindu as well and call it all pagan. I mean, technically they used to call Hindus pagans as well, right? But now anything, all of them together, like yeah. So like Egyptian religions and Nordic religions, they're like so far apart and like they're both pagan all of a sudden. So it doesn't
Afro-Caribbean religions.
Yeah, you're right. All pagan. Mm-hmm. This is so Abrahamic centric to think about everything that is not you as pagan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they did take over the world.
I think we should just end on this comment, which is from Forever Stormy. She's saying Armin's go-to solution to everything is to whip out the junk.
I never whipped out the junk on this. Not at least not on the show. We don't know what happens after the stream is over. Like maybe
you're like someone's harassing you. Pull out your boob.
No, wait. Where did this happen? Where we're still live? I'm pretty sure I ended this stream. I'm pretty sure I ended the stream when we did that. Right, sis? Right? I did.
I think we would have. I think YouTube would have informed us otherwise. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me pull up my show notes. Okay, let's go to the next news.
People are.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is just a day in the life here at Atheist Republic. What can I say?
All right, can we clap for the next news?
We don't like this either, but we need to clap.
All right, next news.
Next news. Europride canceled in Serbia after horrific Christian backlash. Due to opposition from far right, let me start over. Europride canceled in Serbia after horrific Christian backlash. Due to opposition from right-wing groups, the Serbian government recently announced that the Europride parade would be essentially banned. The parade was scheduled to take place on September 17th in the capital city of Belgrade. Bishop Nikanor of Banat urged the Orthodox groups in the country to help stop the ones who were, quote, desecrating the holy city of Belgrade. In a YouTube video, Nikanor said, okay, YouTube, I am reporting the statements of other people. These are not our views, and we condemn these views. I am reporting this for educational purposes. Okay. Nikanor said, quote, I will curse all those who organize and participate in something like that. He added, I can do that much. If I had a weapon, I would use it. I would use that force only if I had it, but I do not. Thousands of Serbian Orthodox Church members and traditionalists, extreme right-wing groups gathered to protest to counter Europride. The church's clergy has tried to bar many pride walks and even blessed the violent counter-demonstrations. In response, the Serbian government announced that the pride celebration would be canceled or postponed. President Aleksandar Lucic said, with the rising tensions and concerns with the former province of Kosovo, Serbia is, quote, pressured with all kinds of problems, and that it is impossible to, quote, handle everything, referring to their inability to provide adequate security for the Pride March.
Yeah, read this by Darko.
Darko is saying, the people that were ready to walk those streets are so effing brave. Yeah, so if you are not familiar with the history of Pride in Serbia, which I don't expect many people would be, the first Pride in Serbia was in around 2001 to 2003. And the people who participated in that Pride March were violently physically assaulted. And then they basically didn't have another one for almost another 10 years. And then the next time it happened, again, there were violent assaults. And then since 2014, there has been pride marches under heavy police security every year. Now, Euro Pride, for those who don't know, is like a pan-European pride festival. So it's supposed to be like the LGBT community of Europe comes from across Europe to then go celebrate pride in a specific country. Serbia was chosen to be the location for this year's pride 3 years ago. And then political things have happened since then, which basically made it completely untenable. Like I said, thousands flooded the streets to counter protest the Euro Pride happening in Serbia, even after the government announced that this was essentially banned. And there's been extreme violent rhetoric against the community happening from some of the highest pulpits in the Serbian Orthodox Church, and not condemned by the main patriarch. And basically, yeah, it is a real reminder about what pride is actually about. For many people in Western, quote unquote, free societies, pride has become so commercialized that we forget that our legacy of when our political ancestors had to put their bodies on the line against police brutality for their individual liberties, because that's what LGBT rights are about. Really, it should be framed as a fight for individual liberty, individual rights. So when people are putting their bodies on the line for the sake of trying to secure their individual liberties, like what they had to do in America 50 years ago, a little over 50 years ago, people still have to do to this day. And we don't shed enough light on them, in my opinion. So that's part of why I wanted to talk about this. And also just the blatant like incitement to violence, the severe homophobia. But I did want to give an update because we released this news a few days ago. But like I said, it was supposed to happen on the 17th, which was yesterday. Armin, if you go into the show notes, I found a video of what actually happened yesterday, about how it actually went down. Yes. So if you click in the middle of this image, it's actually a video. If you're sharing audio, we can give an update of how things actually went down.
Tell me if you have idea when it starts.
Yes.
Europride organizers have proposed a new route for their march in Belgrade after Serbia banned the LGBTQ rights demonstration earlier this week. They have also collected around 30,000 signatures for a petition calling on the government to lift the ban. Organizers say that the new route, which is shorter than the original march, is a major compromise.
We tried on our part to do something. There is a red line, which is that it is impossible not to have a parade. That is very important. We discussed with the authorities the various options that exist, but no agreement could be reached.
Over 29,000 people from 123 countries around the world have shown their solidarity with the LGBT plus community here in Belgrade by signing the petition that we handed in just now.
Serbia's police originally claimed far-right anti-gay activists was the reason for banning the parade. The Balkan country has yet to legalize same-sex marriage, and nearly 60% of its LGBTQ plus community reported experiencing both emotional and physical abuse in 2020. The continent's top human rights body has called on Serbian authorities to allow the march to go ahead.
It's amazing how you can tell the good and evil. Look at this. Look, hold on.
Plus community signing.
Police originally
look at this.
Anti-gay activists.
Look at these people. These people, like they look like fascists, and I don't know, like
a lot of them are.
I know, and then you go here, people that are celebrating love. Oh, anyway.
A day after the president of Kyrgyzstan.
Skip to the next segment.
Yeah, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Also, this is like a pro-Russian thing. It seems like look at this tweet.
It is. So this super. You know, basically the bishop that was like inciting violence against the community has come out basically supporting Putin, like calling him the Tsar. He called Putin the how do you say it? The Tsar, the Tsar of the planet. And they've aligned with Russia because of an anti-Western degeneracy narrative, essentially, and a preservation of their traditional values, which is highly predictable.
So this is like, it's amazing because this is like Orthodox Christians versus gay pride, but it's at the same time, it's about pro-Russian elements within the country and pro-EU elements of the country. Because Silva was asking in the live chat, is Serbia in the EU? Serbia is an EU candidate, right? So it's one of the few countries that has been on a list to join the EU for a very long time. But it's really difficult for you to join the EU when you're on the list because you have to, your your laws, your economy, a lot of things have to be in line with European standards, gay rights, right? For you to get all that in order before you go from candidate to actually a member, right? And I don't know, canceling Pride doesn't seem to be a good way to go from being a candidate to an actual member, right?
Even U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken made a statement saying that they shouldn't go forward with the ban, that this should continue. There were 15 different members of the EU Parliament that said that they would go and march with them in solidarity to show that this should go forward and all these things. And so there wasn't, like, Euro Pride is supposed to be like a full festival, like a whole thing. Instead, they kind of just had this miniature, incredibly truncated march.
It's amazing how many European countries that have anti-EU values, are in line with Russia. Like they see, like within Serbia, people who are against these stuff see Russia as their big brother savior, come save us from liberalism, kind of, Daddy Putin, come save us from all this degeneracy kind of stuff, right? That's their attitude. They think Putin is the solution. Like all this LGBT stuff, family values, this is the dark force that is coming, and Putin is their white knight coming to save the bringer of light, to fight against all this dark, evil degeneracy, right? I mean, look at this tweet. Yesterday in Belgrade, a rally was held against Europride. The rally organized by pro-Russian groups. The Serbian Orthodox Church was actually more of a pro-Russian rally with Z symbols or Z symbols and Russian flags. Is this what a candidate country for EU membership looks like? Very good question. By the way, a lot of these candidate countries for EU membership are also would be annoyed if Ukraine gets to be a EU member before they do, okay? Because they're like, we were on a waiting list for a while. How come they get to be ahead of us? I mean, they probably won't. It will take a long time, but they do. But the thing is that if Ukraine gets ahead of these countries, it makes sense. There's more of a demand. Like the people there, they're not pro-Russian, okay? So
they have a greater alignment of values.
Perfect. I mean, the things that are working against Ukraine is corruption, okay? They have a serious problem with corruption, and their economies is really bad, right? Like they have a GDP per capita of 5 cents, maybe.
Well, Russia starting an invasion of their landmass in 2014 definitely impacted that a lot.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we had somebody celebrating their membership. It was something I don't remember, celebrating 5 months of membership. Thank you, something I don't remember, saying, what's the colorful lights behind Susie? It's just, I don't know.
This would be some sort of LED that Babak set up.
Oh, thank you, Babak. Engaged American with the $5 super chat is saying, if Putin's the bringer of light, doesn't that make him Lucifer, aka light bringer? Sure. Hey, can you please not? I do not tolerate any blasphemy against Lucifer here. Okay, this is like, please don't compare Lucifer to anybody evil. That's offensive.
Brother asks a very good question. Thank you for the super chat, Asian American.
Thank you. Oh, this is important. Shirish was asking for a link to the petition. What,
Okay. Honestly, I did not find this petition. I'm sorry.
Okay, the petitioners.
The petition that the guy in the video was referring to.
Okay. So they should do better at making it clear where the petition is. It's their job.
I'm sorry.
No, not you. I'm saying they're doing a bad job. They're looking for people to sign the petition. Wait. Do you think I was talking about you?
I'm kidding. I was joking.
Okay. I was talking about them. I wouldn't blame you for that. All right. Should we go to the last news?
Yes. So the link that I provided for the last news, I think it would be easier if you open it in an incognito tab.
Yeah, because I was like clicking on it. I was like, this is just Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Incognito it. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, that makes sense because I was like, why is this just taking me to?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Can we clap? We can.
Yes,
clap.
we can.
All right.
Next news. Shopping on Amazon. Support Atheist Republic. So I wanted to plug, because I know some people know about this, but a lot of people don't know about this. If you are like a lot of people in this day and age, you probably shop on Amazon, at least maybe for a few things once a year. Well, there is a program called Amazon Smile where at no cost to you, Amazon will take some of the money you spend on your purchase and send it to an eligible charity of your choice. And Atheist Republic is part of the Amazon Smile program. So what this means is, like, if you choose to support Atheist Republic on Amazon Smile, you are not being charged extra. No. This is at no cost to you. There's no additional cost to your purchases. Amazon simply takes a percentage of what you spent, and instead of them taking the profit, they give it to the charity of your choice. I hope that makes sense. So, like I said, we are part of this program, and I just put the link to join or select Atheist Republic as your charity in the live chat. So you can go follow this link here. I also put it in the show description notes. And this is a really good way to just support our work. And you don't have to do anything extra. It's just what you do with your purchases. Actually, wait, I correct myself. You do have to do one special thing. So when you're shopping on Amazon, you cannot have just any regular Amazon to have this small percentage going towards the charity. You specifically have to use the URL smile.amazon.com. So what I always do is I just shop on Amazon like normal. And then whenever I am ready to go complete my purchase, I just go up to the URL and I take out the www. And I just insert smile instead. So as long as the URL, as you see an example here down below me, as long as the URL is smile.amazon.com, then that's what triggers these donations being made with your purchases. Or if you already have like Amazon bookmarked, you can just change the bookmark instead of being www.amazon.com to smile.amazon.com. And then
you could add things to your
cart. URL.
You don't have to switch it. You could add things to your cart while being smile.amazon.com too.
Exactly. You just have to originate things from smile.amazon.com to make sure that these contributions.
By the way, this is different from being we are an affiliate as well, but this is different from being an affiliate. This is partnering with Amazon as a charity. Okay, so we do use our affiliate link as well, but the good thing about this is that you don't have to click on our link every time you want to buy something. That's like what affiliates are. This is like you choose the charity of your choice once, and you could choose any charity. Okay. And then once you choose the charity, every time you're purchasing something without any additional cost, something goes to the charity. So yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, this is a really good way to support what we do. You literally don't have to think about it. So like I said, you can follow this link and it should automatically start giving you prompts to set things up. But Armin, just in case, I provided a video in the show notes that we just have to watch the first minute to give people a tutorial of how to make sure that they select Atheist Republic. Okay.
Wait. Tell me if you have audio.
I think I found something.
Yes.
As much as I like Amazon, I think I found something that I like even better. Smile.amazon.com. Why? Because it allows me to do the shopping that I've always done, and with no extra cost to me, lets me donate to charities that I care about as well, such as the Interpreter Foundation. Isn't that great? Let me show you how to set it up. Right now, as you can see, I am on Amazon.com. Instead, let's go to smile.amazon.com. If you do your shopping at smile.amazon.com, Amazon will donate 0.5% of your eligible purchases to a charitable organization of your choice. Again, this is with no extra cost to you. It's Amazon that's doing the donating. Over to the right, you can see a carousel showing Amazon Smile's Spotlight charities. If any of these are places that you would like to direct donations to, by all means, please do it. The charity I want to donate to isn't in the carousel, though, so I'm going to do a search for it here.
Okay,
Interpreter
pause.
Foundation.
So yeah, that's basically what you have to do. You have to go into the little search bar where you search for charitable organizations, and you should be able to search for Atheist Republic, select Atheist Republic, and then it's automatically set to make donations to Atheist Republic. And this is really great, especially like if you have to use Amazon for your work. Like at my work, there was a lot of stuff, of expensive stuff I had to buy for my work and then get reimbursed for. I was like, oh, well, while I'm doing that, percentage of these purchases can be going to AR. So consider, supporting Atheist Republic simply with the click of a button. It's very easy.
Yeah, actually go to your company and say you will do their big purchases and get reimbursed. Like, just tell them that you will take care of all major purchases for your company, okay? And then use Atheist Republic. That's actually fantastic. Good idea. Like, if they want like big TV screens or like electronics, phones, buy those with your good. Oh. Like
something I don't remember just gave us a 40 rupee super chat and said, "This is from my Amazon account." Thank you.
Thank you.
I actually have a request though. I would really appreciate it if people outside of the United States could try selecting Atheist Republic as their charity and then tell me if you're outside of the United States and if you were able to select AR as your charity, because I was trying to do it and things were messed up and I wasn't sure if it was just my own confusion or if it does have to be specific to North America. So if someone could leave a comment after giving this a test, please let me know, because that'd be really helpful information, because I wasn't able to figure that out myself.
How would they tell you?
Well, because if they go to...
No, how could they contact you?
No, just comment on this video.
On this video, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Forever Stormy is asking a good question. Does this show up on the receipt? Yeah. So when you make an invoice, one of the automatic invoices from Amazon, it will say supporting Atheist Republic on the invoice.
Oh,
but so if that's like an issue for you and your work, that's something to consider, or wherever you have to submit an invoice. But like I have to redact a lot of information out of the invoices I make anyways, so that wasn't a big problem.
Look, Selva is from India, saying it's possible from India. Just added it. Just added AR from India.
Guys, thank you.
It's possible in India. Thank you, Selva. And he added us. Also, Darko just added us. I just did it, and it seems to work. Yay, we're being added. Guys, thank you so much. The pirate saying try using VPN.
If you use the Amazon or Amazon Prime app, I know that you can use Amazon Smile, but there are special ways that you have to set up the app itself. So that might be part of the issue that I was experiencing.
I don't think using a VPN will work, because you literally, if you're in India, you literally have to use Amazon India. Like, you're not going to be able to, yeah. Well, India has it, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, it has it. India number one, yes. That's great. Wait, Shreyash was saying my purchase of the Bible will fund atheism. Yes, guys, buy funny things and tell us what funded atheism. Because he also said that I will buy. Can I say this? Can I say this on stream? I don't know. Just read it off on my screen.
It's so funny. Shreyash is saying I'll buy dildos and then return them.
Oh, you can say them. Okay, sure. Okay, cool. Man, I'm so impressed that people. This is why you're the CEO, Susie. You're like, I never thought to tell this, to people. Like I file for these things and I never tell people to. And you told people, and we already have like a couple of people switching their adding Atheist Republic as Amazon.
Of course.
Oh,
And
PK, look at this. PK added it too. Thank you guys. This is so amazing. It's so heartwarming. You guys are great.
we have to remember to
Oh,
I always have
Look
to
at this.
try to remember to remind people when Christmas comes too.
look at this. Read this one. Bjorn. Bjorn.
Bjorn is saying works from Norway, done and done. I don't use Amazon much though. Hey, well that's
It's
okay.
okay. It's okay.
Whatever you
It's
do.
okay.
I
Whatever you do.
appreciate you support.
Thank you, guys. By the way, guys, remember the last news, it will always be something about AR. So we do 9 news and something AR related. So this was the AR related one. Anyways, this was fun. I enjoy doing streams with Susie when I get to. So this is where I enjoyed. I enjoyed it so much. You know that I really
I
like.
know I had a lot of fun today.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Please make sure you like, you subscribe, you hit the bell button. Make sure you leave a comment after the stream is over, and tell everybody you know, okay, about Atheist Republic, unless it's not safe, okay. But if it's safe, then you have no excuses, okay. Tell people to subscribe to Atheist Republic. It's we spent 3 hours doing this show for you, okay. So taking 5 minutes to tell somebody, listen, taking 1 minute to tell somebody about Atheist Republic and them subscribing to our channel shouldn't take that long, right? Just take 1 minute, just message somebody, tell them that they need to subscribe to our channel, okay? Please do that. Thank you. All right, guys. Susie, you want to say anything else?
Forever Stormy is saying, nice stream. Susanna looks good with the fuzzy effect. Armin is a cute potato as usual.
Oh, thank you. That's nice. I've never been called a cute potato. It's so special.
But I like it.
I like it. I don't know what it means, but I like it. Oh,
Thank you for a good show, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.